what is your, like, what inspires them to, if they're acting crazy, or if they're acting a different, if they're turning that switch and their representatives is going off and they're not staying with the sexy and they're not wanting to continue to give you head or rub you down or shower you up or cook for you or whatever, what is your role on that? Are you continuing to maintain that leadership and that respect?
Welcome to the King's Experience. I'm your host, Mark Chill, as always. AB in the building.
What's up with you?
Jeff from Indy. And then we got a special guest today, Miss Tiana Gomez.
Ooh, I like the last name added there.
How you doing today?
Because I'm nasty.
Ooh, there
I'm
you go.
good.
Miss Gomez, you nasty, right?
Yes, right? You know, Janet Jackson was out here, so I was feeling that moment.
Did you go to that?
I didn't. I went to her Velvet Rope tour, though, when I was like 12 years old back in the day, and it was amazing. So I already know.
I would have loved to go to her concert back then when she pulled somebody on the stage.
And she freaked on them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, she did. First of all, I shouldn't have been there.
Maybe.
But not at 12 years old. Yeah, shout out to my friend and her mom who brought me along. It was nice. And Usher was there too, hopping the ground, pouring water on himself, doing the, you know, nice and slow stuff.
There you go.
But go ahead with the introduction.
Where you from, Tiana?
So I like to feel like I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Because I have been out here for, you know, about, 15 years. I am born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, Coney Island to be exact. And I also lived in Virginia, so shout out to Virginia, my Virginia people out there too, because my dad was in the military, and so we ended up in Virginia.
Okay.
And so VA is a cool place, and it's only like it was only 5 hours away from New York, so we were able to still keep in contact and go back and forth. Yeah.
Cool.
So Virginia is a beautiful place, but hey, I'm where I'm supposed to be right now in Arizona.
That's right on.
That's what's up.
You single? You in a relationship? What's your status? Let the people know. What's your situation?
I am permanently single at the moment.
Okay.
Right? So permanently because that's like somewhere that I'm choosing to be right now. This is like, I'm committed to my single, I'm committed to motherhood right now for my daughter. And it's a tough balance to balance relationships and also being a mom and a head of household and a provider, you know. So doing all of that, I feel like until I am kind of through motherhood, maybe a little bit more where my daughter's, you know, a little bit more independent, maybe when she's out the house or I move out, she gets the house, and I move in, you know, with my future husband or whatever the situation is. I recognize that I can't be both a mother and a wife right now.
Okay.
And so in order for me to date and, you know, the realistic version of me, like, yeah, you know, dates are cool, but to get into a committed relationship right now would put me in the mind frame of becoming a wife, and I do not see how that works with me being a mom right now, and also how that balance works with that man becoming my child's stepfather.
How did you get into that space? Because it sounds like you're just holding yourself accountable.
Yes. Well, I've been there for about 7 years now, and I'm really good at it. I'm really good at being single and staying single. I gotta be honest. I think I'm one of the best at it. and trust me, and I get a lot of, you know. And it's tough because I have to reject a lot of advances. I do. Like, I have to reject a lot of great men. And I mean, there's so many great men, honestly. There's so many great men out there that if I was ready and available to be a wife right now, that I could be like, yes, that man, I'll give you a chance and we'll go on dates and we'll do all the things. But when I recognize that my main role in life right now is to be the best mom that I can be to my daughter. She's 11. I homeschool her also, so that's a big deal for me. And I made a commitment to homeschool her, and I made a commitment to be the main leader and, you know, the main role of her life, the main influence of her life. So it's hard to do that when you entertain a relationship and you're trying to be the main woman of a man's life and give him all that he needs also. So I would like to, and I mean, if we did it, you know, if I did it the way where her dad, I loved her dad, we were going to be married and that was going to be, you know, but things didn't work out in that sense, and that's okay. But I still have a responsibility to my daughter, and so now I'm taking that, and later on is going to be my time for being a wife.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
That's cool.
Nice.
In your experience, do you feel like a lot of people, because it sounds like you've matured a lot, especially like you said, you've been doing it for 7 years. You matured a lot to get to that position. Do you feel like there's a lot of people that haven't gotten to that, you know, hold myself accountable and be able to, you know, put myself in this realm of, hey man, I'm gonna prioritize myself, my family, as opposed to just going out and doing whatever the fuck I want to do.
Right. And I can't speak for everyone else, but I will say, just on my observation of things, I do work in a club, you know, and I do see single women coming out, and which, you know, that's, if they have somebody to watch their kids, if they're doing their thing and they come out to the club, sure, there's no judgment. I don't know what's going on in their home life. But I think that women are getting into relationships while having children and trying to balance that, because we do have this thing where we want to feel protected and safe and nurtured by a man and still cared for, and you know, a protector around, and we still are desiring that, you know. So I don't fault them for not having the discipline, maybe, you know, that I have, which is, there's no wrong or right way. Everybody has their own journeys.
Right.
But my growth comes from my motivation to, my return on investment with my daughter is going to be greater than my return on investment with a man at this moment in life.
Okay.
And so I've spent time in the past, you know, investing in a man, and that did lead to my child, and that did lead, you know, and it led to great love, and that was beautiful. But when I'm doing it now, it's just, it doesn't make sense. And for the women who are doing it, wow, honestly, I ask them, and I try to quiz women all the time on this, and I, you know, and I'm like, how are you doing this? Or I'll ask girls or women who have stepfathers, and I'm like, how was your relationship with your stepdad? You know, honestly, I ask that a lot more than I ask the women about dating, because I really am curious about how, I didn't grow up with a stepdad. My parents been married for about 37 years.
Okay.
And they've known each other since they were like 12 and 13 years old together, and so they go back. And I don't know what it is like to have a stepdad, and I honestly am uncomfortable with the situation for myself. And so I don't know if women get to the point where they feel uncomfortable with that situation, maybe they might adjust their, you know, perspective on it, and they might believe, you know, to hold off. But, you know, I do have my man and woman time. I do, you know, connect here and there. But it's not, it doesn't get to that serious point.
To that serious level.
Yeah.
I mean, you said something too, you know, as far as like the journey. Like you said, everybody's on their journey, and not to make it seem like, you know, everybody's supposed to walk the same path,
Right.
you know, as everybody
We're going
else.
different speeds.
Exactly. So that's cool that you've gotten to yours, and you know, hopefully everybody kind of comes around to that at their own speed, like you mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think with stepfathers and little girls, it's a different situation, and not to get too dark or anything, but
I think that's the same.
what do you mean a different, same as far as little boys, or?
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
Just being the
your
stepdad.
stepdad, like,
Well, it's for stepmom. So for me, I feel like I would be an amazing stepmother, right? Like I could embrace a child as being my own child, and being, because most women are nurturers and can just be like, oh, your kid, I'm gonna love on your kid. But stepdads, it's weird boundaries that have to be placed when it comes to loving someone else's child.
It's definitely a battle,
It's
because
a-
you know,
there
I
is.
the stepdad or whatever you want to call it in the relationship I'm in, and I come across a lot of challenges, mainly because, just like you said, with the whole disciplinary part, just because he still has that relationship with his dad, you know what I'm saying? So if you're
Power
getting taught
struggles.
one thing by, you know, who
And you
he
got-
looks up as
Oof.
king or whatever, and then he sees me and I'm telling him something, he's just like, nah,
like,
bro.
"You're not my
You know,
daddy."
yeah, really,
Yeah.
you're not my daddy.
I
You
used to
know what
get
I'm
that.
saying?
I used to get
I
that.
heard that 1,000
Yeah.
times.
Me
Like, bro,
too.
you're not my dad. And it's very challenging, and it could definitely be challenging that can lead into the relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just because
Right.
it's hard to balance,
Especially if you don't have your own kid too. You know what I'm saying? If
See,
you-
I don't have my own kid. You see what I'm saying? So.
And do you want to have more children,
No.
or do you want to have any children?
No, I don't want.
You don't want to have any
children.
children.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so you're good with them. Like they got children. Okay,
Yes.
I can take your children.
People I grew like strong relationship with or whatever. I try to take them in as like my kid or whatever, or like I train a lot of athletes, and I look at them or few of them as like my kids, but having
For
one of
sure.
my own, nah, I'm good.
It takes a village. Honestly, I think that we should input and pour into any child that we're around
Yeah.
as adults, and just being in leadership, and being an adult to show them, like, as an example, what
I
to
got a
be
lot
as
of
an
like
adult.
nephews and little cousins that look up to me, so
Right.
I'm their father.
So a
I'm their
relationship,
uncle.
though, if you're disciplining someone else's child, where I had one time where a male friend, tried to discipline my child, and he was so like my daughter got sensitive by it. Like she cried, she came to me and hugged me, like it was so weird. And I'm like, wait a second, and I don't think that he had bad intentions. But it was also like, okay, let's take a second. Like, what gave you the idea? Did I ask you to do that? What is this position you're trying to play right now? You have to come across it gentle. You cannot use any foul adult language while you're trying to. He used adult language, like cursing. And I'm like, this is why, because I will fight somebody. I will hurt somebody behind, and that's the mama bear, And so I just can't put myself in those situations that now I've connected and loved this man, and now he has a situation with my daughter, and my daughter feels uncomfortable. As soon as my daughter feels uncomfortable, that's it. It's a wrap. I can't, I mean, as long as it makes sense, right? Now, if it was something that was petty, like if he was saying something just as an adult, hey, don't do that to your mom, listen to your mom, or something gentle, or something like, just as a person, as a friend or an adult, like, hey, pay attention to what's going on. As a teacher, that would have been fine. I'm okay with that, coaches and teachers and people helping in that community to help my daughter. But when it comes to, like, you're speaking to her the wrong way, you got her to cry to me, like, no, we have to wipe that out. And that's why I think it's really difficult for me too, because if I start to connect with a man and then we have to disconnect because of that situation, it's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough all the way around.
And that's where I'm with it, because I've been in his position where I was a stepdad, literally. And that whole dynamic, and there was a boy, but the dynamic of the disciplinary and try to do it, but you try to do it gentle, it's still not good. And you also have to have back up.
Yes.
If the other person isn't backing you, if it's, you tell them one thing, they say something else, that's never going to work.
That's where communication comes in between the two of you, and setting. See, this is where I come to with relationship agreements, relationship contracts. I think even in the last situationship that I had, where I was just seeing someone, in order for him to be in my life, I needed him to know what role I wanted him to play in my life.
Yeah.
Like, what do I expect from you? Why are you here? Why am I in your life? What is my role for you? If we're not getting married, this is not going anywhere serious, I still need there to be certain, boundaries and things that we do for each other. Whether it's like, if I have a flat tire, you're going to help me figure that stuff out.
Right.
Whether it's taking out that you come to my house and you see trash in my house, you're going to take out my trash for me. Things like that. Like, whether it's, certain roles, or I feel like those little things have to be in a contract, or whether or not they're going to have input on my child's raising or not. And so if you guys didn't have a communication of what role is this man, and she didn't talk to her son, I don't know how old he is, but who knows.
So it was more than that. It was like he talked about, the dad's still in the life, so
that's a whole
nother dynamic.
That's another dynamic, because
it is. Because it was a marriage too.
You have a power structure where the dad is going to be always. He's always going to be the hero.
Exactly.
He's always going to be the world's best dad.
Hero.
Yes.
Poor you.
Right.
Like, you're just this other guy that lives here. I mean, you live here, but
even though you taking up all the, or at least in my role, I'm picking up all the expenses.
Of
what I'm saying? You only going to see dad, a few days out of the week or whatever the arrangement they may got going on. I'm here the
You're the
majority
house
of the
Yeah, you're the house, right? You're the man in the house.
But it does boil down to the communication, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people, men, I say people, are afraid to have them tough conversations. You know, because it can be awkward. You know, it can be weird, and it makes things uncomfortable at times. But having those uncomfortable conversations up front,
it also takes a lot of, at least I feel, at least with me, if I'm speaking for myself, it took a lot of maturity. You know what I'm saying? I'm somebody, like, I don't have a kid. So it took a lot of maturity for me. Yeah, we had a communication part, and I'll be honest with you, some of that stuff was something I didn't want to hear or I didn't want to adjust to, just because in the back of my head, that ain't my kid. You see what I'm saying? So I'm still trying to have full-blown focus on her.
The question I have here real quick, because I don't see a ring on your finger.
No.
So you're doing this without being married.
No, I'm not married.
So that's the issue that I find, right? Because I believe that, like, how are we gonna have a man of the house, like a man in the house, a man of the house, leadership for my child, if we're not married and we're not setting the example for the child of, like, and it's taking the real commitment. I feel like a man hasn't really committed to me unless we're married, right? And, like, he has no commitment to my child unless we're married. We could be cohabitating. He might be paying bills, but, you know, men can pay bills that's not even in the house for women. You know what I'm saying? And men do that.
Yeah.
And it's just that when you're dating a woman and you are doing it without a legit marriage and a commitment of a lifelong, I'm here to stay, and or maybe adopting the child too, you know, as your child too, I feel like it's all kind of just surface level stuff, and it gets shaky.
I would say, you know, not everybody wants to be married.
Yeah,
you know, so that may be a
that's
communication.
The commitment of that don't take the commitment of the child.
Well, when I say that, is like there's been a conversation where they both are on the same page in regards to, hey, maybe I'm not speaking to you, but
ahead,
like, hey, you know, we neither one of us want to be married. Maybe, you know, maybe they've been married before, like, I'm not going down that path again. But we do have this commitment. I'm committed to you the same way that I'm committed to the kid, you know, because I'm in this with you. There's just not the aspect of a ring. But to your point, you know, you have to be able to, and maybe you can answer this, how can a woman decipher through the bullshit? Because there are a lot of people out there that will put their best foot forward, you know, in a sense of, oh, I'm here with you, I don't mind that you have a kid, and I'm here for you, but they just really want, you know, they have their hidden agenda. So how do you decipher through that bullshit?
They want the cookies. They don't want the kids. They want the cookies and not the kids.
Right.
And I think that that's just what it is, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's the duty of the women too to continue to have to continue to push communication and conversations. It is tough with men, you know, to get down to the bottom of their agenda and to the bottom of their intentions and what they have with you. Ultimately, yeah, I think it is. It is
for some people, because it's just, like you said, it's based off of the journey. But I would
yeah,
agree with
you know, not all men are just willing to be like, and then a man might think that he wants a certain thing, and but then, you know, if the actions may not show and prove to be that. I think that women, we do want to be led. I feel like we do naturally want to be led by a man. We do naturally want to seep into that traditional role, but we have also been flexible to what men have been giving us, right? And so we kind of have adjusted our expectations for men. But when it comes to deciphering down to what type of man is going to be, that's why I've been single for so long, because the filtering process is so thorough, and the communication. And a lot of men, you know, they'll shut you down. They'll be like, all right, you're talking too much. And it's true, I talk a lot. So it's, if I'm over communicating, most men are like, you're overthinking it. Oh, you're overthinking, you know. It's like, you're not thinking enough, because this is serious to me, you know. And if you're with me you have to accept the commitment to me and to my child in a serious way. And that's going to be, I believe in God, I believe in the marriage, and I believe in once you get married, you don't divorce. That's it. You're working through those things. And so it's not just like a cohabitation. It's not just like this relationship where, you know, we can just break up and boom, you know, that's it. We have to you know, there's nothing to really separate. There's nobody who's really disappointed from our families, or nothing that's really affected but us. When you make that extra commitment, it's more than a ring to me. It's more than a piece of paper. It's you know, it's not even that it has to be through law, through government, or whatever, but it's more that marriage, that under God, to me, it's that real, it's that ultimate commitment. And so I wouldn't take a man seriously with my child until he made that full commitment to me under God, like in a marriage. Outside of that, you know, whatever. He's here. He might buy a few meals. He might, you know, pay a few bills. But what are you really doing, you know, for me that I am not able to do myself? You know, you might lay a little bit of pay, but I don't know, here and there. But you're not. What are you fulfilling me and my family unit with? What do you bring into this family unit? Also, a lot of guys, like, if they don't have children, they do want to have children. Like, maybe they're like, okay, I'll accept your child, but you got to have a child for me too. And I'm like, hold up, we're not pushing that route, because I'm hitting that age where we're not gonna go down that, and I'm already done with the kids, so I don't want to have more kids. But I am willing to be a stepmother to someone else's kids, and I would love to have, if that was the situation, a great relationship with the mother of those kids too, you know, so that there's no issues there. I would never want any baby mama drama, any baby daddy drama. That's something that is also
But nobody wants to.
Turn off.
So kind of what you're saying too.
Oh man, that's challenging.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants it.
But the reality.
But you're signing up for it.
The reality sometimes is, and I can speak from experience, sometimes you are signing up for that, and you don't know you're signing up for that, and you may go into it. I'm speaking from a man's perspective, just to kind of get the other side, where you're like, yes, I'm all about what you talked about. I'm down for the marriage. I'm down for, you know, I'm under God. This commitment is true to me. I really want to do my best. I want to be here for the kid. I want to be here for, you know, now my now wife. And you don't know sometimes, like that whole representative that you may get in the beginning may not be the same person year 2. Or even 6 months later, so you might run into some of those those things too, and you decipher that. You decipher that, and you go through, and like you said, communication should be key. But when these things break down, and the other person isn't mature, as he used earlier, there's several different scenarios where guys can also fall into the same thing that women think we're not going to fall into, because we have hearts and feelings too.
And that's what I was going to allude to. That's what I was going to allude to, is that women play the game of not communicating as well. Because, you know, they want to make they want that partner, you know, they want to make sure that it feels good. So I'm not going to divulge that I'm still, you know, whatever, I'm still kicking it with over here, because I like what this feeling does over here, you know, and so it does go both ways, Jeff. I agree with you 110%.
I would say that sex is interrupting a lot of communication
sometimes.
And I believe that the reason why we're not able to get to those tough conversations is because we're not trying to miss out on that sexual chemistry. We're not trying to disturb the sexual chemistry we might have with that person.
That's a problem.
Because when you have that good sexual chemistry, do you want to really talk about the stuffy stuff?
Absolutely.
You know,
I do.
Most men probably do.
Sure, you might want to, but you know what effect that has on a woman. Like, if you disagree with a woman in a way, and she's just like, all right, it's shutting down. Now we're not having sex right now, and you might care or not care. But I think that if you didn't know, right, if we're dealing with the representatives, that means that there wasn't enough communication.
Correct.
And the reason why we're not talking enough is because I think we're sexing too much sometimes in the beginning. You know, like we're connecting on this sexual level. We're feeling the butterflies. We're looking at them like, you got this, that, and the other, and we're making each other, you know, feel all these orgasms and stuff.
That's the honeymoon phase.
Right. And then we're not really trying to get down to the nitty gritty of like, hey, how are we going to build and grow and build wealth or build health and build happiness together in a real legitimate way, where we need to go through the hard things and have the hard conversations. It's just the sexual nature is kind of taking over.
But I also think that the last thing I'm going to say on this, I think that's from and I feel like everybody in this room has gone through this. We're going from a heal perspective. We're a little bit older. We've gone through situations.
Healing.
We've learned.
Healing.
Okay, healing. Okay, excuse my French.
No, you good.
Healing. All right, so from a healing perspective where, you've learned the things. I've been a communicator my entire life. This is my problem. We're going to talk.
Yeah.
We're going to really talk. And we need to know what's going on. That's me.
Yeah.
But everybody may not be on that journey. And like you said, you might be speaking to somebody now who is in a situation where they think it's going good, but all they know is the inside of that bedroom together, and they really don't know.
Or the pillow talk.
Else.
You know what I'm saying? They know the pillow
Literally.
talk.
Yeah.
And that might be all they need in this phase of life, And that's one thing that I recognized for myself was that in that situationship, what I really, I was gaining from that situation was sexual connection, because I was trying to balance motherhood, working, being provided, all these things that are very masculine energy. But when I want to get into female energy and feminine energy, I can experience this sexual experience with this man and let down those guards. And I don't have to deal, I don't have to deal with the issues of like parenting together and all of those things. So it's not as heavy. Now we can enjoy sex a little bit more and it's fun. But when you do get into that serious commitment, marriage, sex doesn't become, you really have to work at sex being fun. You really have to work at continuing to date and, having that spark with each other, because now you have, you're combining bills, you're having financial conversations where
it's real life that's going on.
Right, which is like, we do it, and it's tough, right? I'm always going back and forth on it, because I love when it's loose and free and like, okay, it's light. It's a light relationship and we can have fun and we can go on dates and it's fun and it's spark, we giddy on the phone, But when you get into that real relationship, and if I think that I want that and I got time to focus on that later in life, it's gonna be where sometimes you feel like you guys are brother and sister or roommates, or like you guys are just friends and you're like, yeah, we're having sex again. This is kind of like redundant, or it's like the same thing, it's predictable. It gets to the point of like, okay, we was kind of not feeling each other today, we're gonna get in bed and just go to sleep maybe, or the girl's rejecting the guy more often, and because our cycles are up and down, we're not always wanting sex the way men are wanting sex, and typically I think that women are more comfortable with having sex and feel safer with having sex when they feel safe and cared for and nurtured and like there's a strong man around, not like he's bullshitting on us. Like once he starts bullshitting on, once we start losing respect for what the man's role is in our life, then we're kind of like, all right, that sex is kind of, last
I kind of feel like, man, but if you can't see those signs now, then you're just a blinded bat, man.
But that's something you can't control, because as you go through life, like she's mentioned, at some point the amount of sex is going to die down,
for sure.
Just because you got you're doing life together. You know what I'm saying? But like she mentioned, when it is light and fun and you don't got that responsibility, it's like, hey man, I'm gonna put you up against this wall. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I think that's why men are cheating more often too, in relationships, and while they're looking in other directions, because to make it lighter and to make them be able to withstand that relationship maybe, or to make it.
I'm gonna say that women cheat just as equally as much as men, because
I don't put a male man who cheats more. I just think humans cheat.
The reason why I believe that is because there's that lack of communication. The woman has needs the same way that a guy has needs, and if a woman doesn't feel safe or isn't in that safe space and the guy doesn't know it, then when a woman's not in her, in that safe space mentally, that pussy's gonna dry up. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna dry up for that guy, because he doesn't make her feel vulnerable enough to want to have sex with him, and so they'll stray. Same way that if a guy's not getting enough, then he tends to stray. But there's no communication that's happening there to be able to reconcile that issue.
You definitely gotta keep that vibe going. Sex, that's another form of communication, and I feel you could definitely express yourself to your partner or whatever through that way if you really want to try to, communicate.
But that's the maturity though.
Yeah, I gotta step y'all minds up, bro.
Now, can I ask you guys a question? In relationships, should women start? Okay, you say that it's both men and women, right? That would cheat, that want to cheat, or that are more inclined to cheat. I say no, and the reason why I say no is because men are like, I just saw something that said men are like a 24-hour cycle, or like a moon, like the day, right? Up and down, where we have the moon, it's predictable. It's the moon and the sun comes up, right? And then women are more like seasons in a month, right? So we have the summer, the spring, the fall, the winter, and all of those seasons are within 1 month. It's not the same thing. So there are weeks where our chemical reactions in our body are not sending the feelings here, where we're looking at men and it's not like bursting off out here, right? And then there's other times where we can look at our man on another week, on a spring week and a summer week, hot girl summer week, and we're like, hey, we're jumping on them bones real quick, and we're pursuing it. But when that winter comes, we just trying to be like up under the covers, like don't touch me.
That's that vibe,
I'm
man.
not
You
trying
gotta
to
read the vibes.
But that's the communication. It's the communication.
The communication, right? But
you gotta know how to read them each one of them seasons. It's like if you garden something, you gotta know how to do it
during that winter time. But are you gonna you're gonna be like, damn, she's not even into this the same. She's not enjoying this the same.
But why though?
Because of those she's not doing it because of that chemical, literally the cycle that women go through.
Right, but what I'm saying, the guy doesn't know why she's not feeling the same. You know what I'm saying?
It hasn't been communicated.
It hasn't been communicated to us. It's just like, all right, man, she's doing this because she knows I really want to, so she's forcing herself to do it or putting herself in this position. Which is I don't want no pussy that's forced upon me.
But at this point, I think that you guys also should should research women more and should understand and you've dealt with enough women at this point that that women are going through these cycles in the month.
Well, let's speak to that.
Yes, please.
Because I think you've broken it down very well, and I don't think anyone else has broken it down that way where there's seasons. And if there's 4 seasons, there are 4 weeks in a month.
Yes.
So each week is a different, or maybe it's not even a week, whatever. But saying it that way kind of helps, but what it really boils down to is this. Hey, right now I'm in season cold, winter. I'm not.
Well, a lot of women don't understand their own bodies either.
That's what it is. So you have to know yourself.
Right.
I'm saying. You have maturity, bro.
Women also have to understand where they are. So I have an app. I've always tracked my periods. I have apps that help me to understand what it is that I'm going to be feeling this week, what it is that I'm feeling this day, what hormones, am I having more estrogen, am I having more testosterone, do I want to sleep more, do I want to be more energetic, I'm going to be more sociable, am I going to work out? And this app literally will tell you, because based on your cycle and that season that you're in, when we start, we have lunar, follicular, menstruation, ovulation. And so when that ovulation cycle comes and that egg is out, we're like, all right, who's gonna fertilize my egg right now? We're looking for that D, huh?
That kind of speaks to the point of women cheating also.
So during that time, but there's less time, there's less of a window, okay? So there's less of a window, there's like a 1 week window, right? But guys, is every day you can, freak.
That's where.
But there's 1 week of a window where we're like, maybe, but I don't know, Anna, cheating is a weird thing. And I've cheated. Don't get me wrong, I've cheated. And
why?
Because my man was not trustworthy, and I felt like I make it fair. You're not going to be trustworthy. If I can't feel like I can trust you, I'm not going to give you the privilege to feel like you can be confident and trust me and feel all secure in your spot as my man. We're taking that out of them.
The mindset, because mentally you checked out. Like, you know what? He's not trustworthy, so I'm going to make it so that
it's a balance. It's a balance of the scales.
It could be untrustworthy. It could be the less of drive, the less of attraction. It could be.
That's why I don't say one cheats more than the other. It's just one cheats for a different reason than the
Yeah,
other.
reason.
for sure.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I said there's two types of cheating, to me,
What
I won't. If I had to say men cheat, men would cheat. It's a sexual cheat. It takes a lot for a woman to cheat. Women, they cheat, but
a man can
I
be getting sex
feel-
every single day and still go out and cheat.
just because,
And you get what he wants
because
to
I feel like
because
some
the chase, but it's also
Yeah, it's
ego.
not just the chase.
It's
it
also
could be the
ego
chase.
too.
It could be the chase. It could be the ego. It could be the
Conquering.
appetite.
Men
I like
wanna
Chinese food. I
conquer
like
more.
Mexican food. I like soul
Sure,
food.
but that's the thing is that
That's
men
what I
are
like.
naturally more wanting to conquer than women are. We're like nesters. We're in the house. We want to nest. We want to build a family. We want to bring it together and nest. But men are like hunting, conquering. I gotta go conquer this and I gotta go hunt that. I'm getting mine, and it's a chase and it's a thrill. That's why I say that men are more inclined to cheat because it's really it's more of like a human, it's more male.
I would say
Makeup genetic data.
men are more inclined to get caught cheating because of that.
I don't know about.
Where
I don't know about
women,
that.
because it does take a lot more
be
for you
cheating,
guys
bro.
to go to that to take that step. It's like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this right. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna. I got this perfect excuse. A dude would be like, hey man, I'm going to Home Depot real quick. You know what I'm saying? And then he goes, bang somebody out and come back, and that's it. Where
Oh
a woman's
my
like,
goodness.
this is gonna be perfect. I got my girls. We planning this vacation.
Yeah.
We're going here. We're gonna
Yeah.
do this. It's gonna
Bro,
be
they
something that's
fucking
completely
plan,
played
yes.
out so that they
Yes.
would never find
I
out.
don't know. I have never premeditated cheated like that. That's extra.
Oh man,
I don't know.
a handful that have.
And I think
Well, that's when they
that's
lost
the
respect already for them, and that's when they, when a man
Yeah, I
finds out
love
that
them
a woman
chicks. Shout out
cheats,
to them.
that's
They
because
know
the woman
they-
doesn't care no more about the relationship, and she's like, go ahead and find out that I'm cheating and leave me because it's so hard for me to leave you because I'm so attached. So guess what? I'm gonna cheat. You find out, or I might tell you, and then you just leave me because I can't handle leaving you.
Yeah, I'm
That
too
might be the
ready.
situation too.
Just leave.
She's
man.
ready to leave. If she's cheating, she's ready to leave.
Absolutely, and because
But I don't think if a man's cheating, he's ready to leave.
exactly.
He be wanting to stay.
Exactly.
He want that good home pussy.
I just needed a hot pocket real quick. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I like my filet
Well,
mignon.
should we? Okay, because I'm starting like let your man cheat type of stuff, right? So I'm getting on the perspective of like
Hall
no,
passes?
look, like huh?
Like a hall pass.
Oh, you
No,
lost your
not even
mind.
hall pass stuff, but like communication, right?
Okay.
Like, hey, I understand.
Open relationship.
Not an open relationship necessarily.
Yeah, you gotta explain this one to me.
Right, not necessarily open relationship, but I would love
pass
there
up
to
with
be
the
a
call now?
situation ideally where like let your man cheat in peace, right? And we don't have as much. Maybe it might make my life easier if my man is able, if on these weeks that I'm not feeling him, like, okay, go ahead, babe.
Is
Like,
this a
you
sexual
got
cheat?
Or is this just
Yeah.
What is
I
a
would
cheat?
prefer
I
a
just need to
sexual
know
cheat.
what a cheat
I would
is.
prefer a sexual cheat.
Because if you give me a cheat,
I would prefer a sexual cheat over like now I'm kicking it with her, I'm taking her on dates, I'm spending money on her. Oh hell no.
that's what I'm saying.
Now, if you spending money
that's
on
what I'm
this girl
asking.
while
What's your sign of
cheating?
cheating? What's your sign?
Okay,
Of,
no,
all cheating is sexual.
All
to
cheat.
me.
No, I mean cheating is typically, I would say, what you don't, what you lie to your partner about, right? Or what you don't want your partner to find out.
admit.
That's like cheating, right?
okay.
So I want them to be more honest
I got a better
in a
definition.
relationship.
it's something you don't want your partner to know? More or less like
Bro, if you're making my woman laugh and
Right.
smile and giggy and all, bro, I have
That's
a
you-
serious problem.
You don't want that. Absolutely.
Right.
it's called work husbands. Work husbands.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm
Husbands are real.
saying.
That's a real thing.
But the
You know,
thing is
unless
that
you're a
I think that I
comedian,
like
bro.
the idea of another woman stroking my man's ego and him feeling like pumped up, like, and I like the idea of my man being able to get other women. Like, I like the idea of and then he might have other women, and I might talk to him about it while we're sexing, and it might turn me on, and I might be like, oh, you was, you got that girl. How was you doing? What was you doing to her? What was, and that might, and honestly, I've been in that situation where that has gotten me there. And that's why I've gotten to the point where I'm like, maybe I really could accept that. And it's not about, I don't want to be like a pick me, like I'm doing this just because the man's a pick. No, it's really like, I think that I know that I like men who other women want.
Yeah.
I
Of
don't
course.
want
Okay, yeah.
men that other women don't want. I don't want no scrub, looking ugly ass dude who no girl's looking at. I'm probably gonna be looking at the dude that other girls look at. And so if he happens to, have a sexual chemistry with someone and
Would you ever invite them into with you guys?
I think that's a sensitive thing because I'm territorial.
Okay.
And I think that wouldn't be the healthiest situation. I would prefer if he could have that separate, from our thing.
Would you want to know, or you just here's a free pass?
I'm not referring to in the sense of repetition with the same individual, but let's say you guys go out and he meets a lady, she's attractive,
Yes.
and it's a one-time deal, what I mean, that type of scenario.
There has to be a lot of trust and communication in that situation. If there is a lot of trust and communication in that situation, we can make it happen, and that's not a problem. But like I said, you have to be able to trust and communicate. If you can't do that, then having those situations might just cause toxic energy.
I gotta know the details of the fine print.
Right.
Just because I seen a post on Instagram and it said, "Can a friend be intimate?"
Wait, we're not there yet. Yeah, no,
we are there. We're
there. What would you see?
What was it?
If a friend could be intimate with if you could be intimate with your friend
and just remain friends.
And remain friends.
Right.
Yeah.
If you give me a hall pass, if you give me a hall pass and I'm with this friend and we had this somewhat of a continuous
open door policy.
It could also grow into something else.
Yes. And that's where it comes to you have to prioritize because if I'm not prioritized, if you're going to prioritize that over there, then you might as well be with that over there.
Let's break that.
It has to be a spontaneous thing. It can't be like, okay, now we're going to continuously have a relationship with this girl over here, because then you're having a whole other relationship.
I feel like once a man and women we meet for one reason. Someone likes somebody.
Yeah.
Either one person friend zoned or it didn't work or something else. The person that's liked always is going to like. How do you then keep this friend that likes you as a regular friend? How do you do that? And then the second part of that is, if you smash this friend and then now your best friend or whatever you're going to call them, whatever pet name you want to call them, does your partner know that you smashed them? And can you even tell them?
Ooh. That... I'm speaking for myself. Yeah, she I smashed a friend, but that's all it was. It was
one
just one smash. It was just one sexual act.
Was it the reason why you didn't continuously smash? Is because that friend didn't want it? It was because on that friend?
The reason why we didn't continuously smash. The reason why we didn't continuously smash because we had a good friendship. She was also in another relationship. And I guess she couldn't juggle both at the same time. Sort of what Chill was saying.
So the woman cheated, I guess.
At the age when it happened.
Sure.
I was so happy of just getting it. I'm straight on number 2. I'm cool with number 1, you know what I'm saying? I guess that's how that was, you know what I'm saying? And she was kind of, you don't want to mess with the friendship we have, and I got a man, all right, cool, I was straight with the one time.
Right.
And does she know about that? Yeah, she knows about it, you know what I'm saying? But it took a lot of maturity for me to explain that to her, you know what I'm saying? Because I could have been like, no, I ain't never smashed on my friend, bro. You with all these women, you ain't smashed not one of them? Like, come on, bro.
Are you still friends with that person?
No.
Okay.
Because of her relationship?
She's in another state, she married. I guess you could say that friendship grew apart as we got older.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or I'm sure if I was to see her, even with her husband or whatever, will we still have that communication, maturity of speaking to each other? I do believe that. But as far as, hey, what you doing, or how your kids doing, all that type of friendship, that ship done sailed.
So you don't think, but you still have female friends that you haven't smashed. See, my thing is, I honestly think that I'd rather you have a female friend that you have smashed than you haven't smashed.
Really?
Yes,
really?
Because if you haven't smashed her, you're still curious about what that vagina feels like. If you're attracted to her in a way, unless she's a dog, ugly, and she's obese or something.
I got some homegirls that are attractive. Attractive homegirls. I'm never smashed.
And you're not curious about what it feels like. What is that like?
To me, I guess if I'm speaking for myself,
go after. Forget them.
I know so much of them that I'm kind of like,
So their personality is what's turning
like
you
there's
off?
no,
Well, if there's no
something
turn off
that-
about their personality.
I mean,
I don't think that I could be friends with a male, and I mean, unless you're a homosexual, why would you not want to have sex with me? That's my thing.
I have female friends that are attractive or gorgeous, and they are just friends in that sense. Like I would never cross that line because I value the friendship that much.
Yes.
You know, great personality, great people, great individual. You know, but as far as going over that line, it's like, nah, man, you're like a sister to me.
Yeah.
You know.
And don't get me wrong on
I've
what you're
never been
saying.
like a sister to
On
anybody.
what you're saying, the
I
sex
don't know
appeal
about
is
that.
there.
Right.
I ain't
Yeah.
sis.
It's just.
I'm not sis.
It's just
I
not.
don't get it. I don't get it. I'm sorry.
But that's when you have
I can't have a dude be like, oh yeah, that's my sister, and a girl be like, yeah, I believe that. No, I wouldn't even believe.
That could
No,
be a
you're
code
not.
name for some people.
Which listen, you know, and guys will call me that, but I've had guys who have been my best friends, and they've told, you know, girls, yo, Tiana's gonna be in my life, and blah blah blah. But I know if I called them up and I'd be like, we gonna freak, and they'd be like, yeah, you know, like it would pop off.
They'll do
at
it at the drop of the dime.
you know, and they might value the friendship or whatever, but they would still be curious about what the sex was like.
You gotta test that. I think maybe that's the part. You test it. You say, let me find out who the real friends are. Hey, come over right now. Listen, I'm naked.
Yeah, I
And
don't.
see
I
how it
can't. I
works.
don't have any male friends.
No, I'm
that
just
I like.
saying, I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
I have low key done that. I mean, but I don't have any friends, any male friends, and I don't even call male. Like males are not my. I don't. No, we're not doing that because they're. I did like maybe from like 7th grade, you know, middle school, elementary school, people in the past, they live in different states. Oh, that's my friend from back then. That's my guy friend from back then, because we're not in the same state, so we could play friendship. But if we're in the same state and they're out here,
I got 3.
What
I
they
got
gonna do?
3 that I feel like are my home girls. There's never gonna be anything. I never want
and that's
there to be
because you don't
anything.
want there to be anything.
I don't know.
Or did they draw that line? Because I think women are drawing that line, honestly.
But it
No,
never
just-
even
Only a
came
friendship
up.
between a
Yeah,
man
it's
and a
just-
female
yeah,
can work
it's-
is if
yeah,
a
what
woman
if it
draws the
never
line.
come up?
What if it just never comes up?
If the sex never comes up,
No, just they,
Some of my
Yeah, maybe
female
that's
friends,
not
I ain't
sexual.
never even. We talked about sex, but we ain't talked about
Us.
sex.
Us.
Having
I get
sex.
that.
yeah.
I
I
hooked
get
one
that.
up with their guy. They just had a kid. Shout out to them. Their kids.
when
like
you're
2.
homegirls and then
I
you
hooked my home girl up with my guy. And now they're
Well,
together.
then we
Look at
might,
that.
maybe it depends on what type of home, you know, like, because it could be more of associates, right? Like, friendship is a big thing for me. I don't say that I have too many friends.
Right,
like, I'm
yeah.
not continuing. I don't have, like, my favorite saved where I know this guy, I can call him for anything and he's just my boy and I'm going to ask him about this, that, and the other. At this stage in my life, there's either men who are pursuing me, or if I have conversations with them, it's gonna lead, or maybe if not, because I don't want to lead somebody on, right? Like, and so if I have a male friend that I'm talking to regularly, I think eventually they're gonna think she wants this dick. Like, that's how a lot of guys think, and they do. And I've had, you know, that like, oh yes, and I've heard from other people like that they say that I want. I'm like, if I wanted him to have it, he would have had it.
Right.
So for a man to be like, oh, and men have done this to me since I was young, before I started freaking, where they've lied on their D about me, or they've made it seem like they could
That's
get me when they
childish. Y'all need to
couldn't.
stop that.
It
Stop
is
that, y'all.
childish.
Don't lie
Oh,
on
men
your
have
shit.
lied about
Don't lie on
being
your shit.
intimate with me. For
For
sure.
what?
As an adult, a man has lied about being intimate with me, and I think it's crazy. But I think it is about ego. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm being friendly with them and I'm out, I'm always going to them for advice, or we're hanging out all the time, or we drink it together, and he knows what I'm about. I'm pretty sure 99% or 10 times out of 10, he's gonna take the opportunity to have sex with me if I make it available.
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned earlier, it's a fine line between an actual friend and an associate.
Yeah.
You know, when I say a friend, because I don't have a lot of friends myself, male or female, and so when I say friend, it's like, all right, man, like I didn't know you for a long time. You know, we done been through some shit together. Or, you know, I got some stories. I can tell you got some stories for me. You know, anything that's less than say 5 years or you know, a couple of years is like, Nah, them just cats that they associates, like you mentioned.
Right.
You know, and those are folks that will definitely take advantage.
Because honestly, like if me and Jeff, if we were continuously talk, now I approached Jeff. If you remember,
No, you didn't.
I did, sir. You were sitting at the bar there at the Splash, Splish Splash, whatever that was. It was like a pool event. I came up. I peeped him out, right? I know he's an attractive man.
I have a different recollection. I'll tell you mine.
And then I came up near him. Now you started talking to me, but I said he's gonna talk to me, right? And so I put myself near him so that he can talk to me, and he did, right? And so that's how that happened. Now, back then, you know, things were like, I was in a promotional phase too, and I was still like on this permanently single thing. And so but if we had, like if we stayed regular friends talking all the time, we probably would have had sex by now, I would say, if you was in a relationship or not. Like we may have had, just because we're both attractive people and we both mesh with each other's personality and we're continuously friends and we're chopping it up and blah blah blah, we could have ended up just vibing and having sex. You know what I'm saying? Possibly. I mean, I think that would be like, you don't think so? No, I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, because now you create that connection. You know, that's where it stems down to. I think a lot of people who are friends, they don't communicate like that to create that type of connection or to build that type of connection. Even have that opportunity of, oh well, man, we got a dope vibe, you know.
Yeah,
I wonder what
and
that
a lot of
would be
people
like.
don't approach people that they're not usually attracted to. They're not really, you know, they're not attracted to in some type of manner.
Now, that's my thing, but I don't do new friends. Like like you said, I'm not adding new homegirls. I'm not adding new guys. Like my circle's my circle. I'm done. I'm cool. But I got a different story. What happened was the real story was.
Memory is
there
funny.
may have been people dancing in the pool and around the pool, and someone may have been part of that dancing part.
That was not the first interaction.
And I tapped Kate, my homegirl Kate. Shout out to Kate.
Kate Green?
Yeah, tapped Kate and I was like, who is that? That's what happened. Kate was like, that's my girl. I'm going to go get her. That's what happened.
Wow. He missed the whole first interaction. Because I wasn't in the pool dancing until after we already introduced ourselves at the bar where he was sitting at. So you should have already known who I was. Dang. So his memory was a little twisted. He probably was drinking a little bit more than I was at that time. Yeah, I think that's what happened. Because I literally, when I first got there, I didn't have any of my homegirls with me. Is what happened. I was there by myself. So I was like, damn, I'm alone. Who am I going to talk to? It's just awkward walking around, you know, this funny place by myself. And I picked him. I said, who's the attractive man around here that might buy me a drink or something? I don't even remember if you bought me a drink or not, but you did. Here we go. And so I was like, that was nothing, right? So I'm like, what attractive man is going to buy me a drink over here? He was sitting at the bar. His back was to me. I kind of got a little glimpse of the side, and I just come cutely walking up. I don't know. I had some bikini. I don't know, something a little cute. And then I walked up, and then he kind of was just like, and I saw him like peep me a little bit, right? And then, but you're bringing it to the pool time. But I'm like, I couldn't have been in the pool until I was tipsy, and so that was after the drinks and after the initial interaction of where we met. Here we go. Right. So I already had approached him before anybody, and because listen, I'm kind of a hunter too. I can't lie.
Sound like you was hunting that day. Just saying.
When's your birthday?
She was trying to get a
drink.
What's that?
When's your birthday?
When's my birthday? September 26th.
Scorpio?
I'm a Libra. Yeah, I'm a Libra. But you know, I'm just a woman who likes to take charge too sometimes. But in that situation, I'm a social person. I'm social now. We were there because we were on the show that for the Pillow Talk stuff, and so we were invited there. I was waiting for the other girls to show up, and so I was the first one there, and I had nothing to do, and I had nobody to interact with, and I'm like, I need to make friends, and who's the best person to make friends with but an attractive male who might find me attractive, we can like pop it off and and that's what I did, and that's how we connected. No lie.
Yeah.
But but really once my girls got there, I was like, men wear, I don't care. Like I was like, I'm not talking to no
She
men.
was there for the free. She was there for the free drink.
So were you there for the free
I don't know your
drink?
name.
She was there for the free food, man.
I wanted the conversation. I wanted the company first
Okay.
and foremost. I did want the company. I probably pre-gamed in my car or something back then. And then, a drink is nice while you're having a conversation for sure. But I did want the company while I waited for my homegirls. But once my homegirls got
Just
there, I
don't
was
say
like,
something stupid.
hi,
I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
thank you.
Yo, but you know what though?
See, I
That's
talking to you.
I saw.
Yeah.
We saw something earlier about that. Where the girls will do some or entertain people just to
yeah.
kind of bypass the time.
Yeah, for
food,
sure. I see that in the
dinner.
club all the time too.
I'm talking about like dinner. Like girls will say, "I'm gonna go on a dinner date
Just to
because
get
for
some
the
free
dinner."
food. You know what? I'm done with that. It was a little early stage maybe in my life, but now I'm like, I could buy my own dinner, cook my own dinner. It's more effort for me to have to sit there and get ready and have a conversation with you and do all those things. I'm like, come on, I'm giving you more value than the value of this meal right now. Honestly, that's how I feel. That's why I don't do dinner dates no more, because I'm like, you should be
Hey, I
paying
like
me
that. I
to
like
sit
that.
right here and
like that,
have
girl.
dinner with you, even if you're paying for the whole dinner. I'm like, my conversation is like that because I engage. I ask questions. I'm inquisitive. And you're gonna learn from me, but I also want to learn
Sound
from
like
you.
me.
So I feel like it's one of those things where I'm not going on dinner dates just for some free dinner. That's some broke girl stuff to
Yeah,
me.
why
That's what I was
why they
saying.
do that shit? Why
That's
they,
some brokey stuff.
To me,
It's survival.
I guess
Survival.
it's survival?
It's survival.
I want to hear from the woman,
If they're
man.
on a
Shit,
budget.
she said she did it.
If they're on a budget, it's survival. It's like, hey, I can, and I
you
hate
just broke
to
on
say
a budget
this.
to me, man. You just
There's a lot of dates waiting right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I could have probably dinner paid for like a year if I took all the dates that were available to go on a dinner date, And my thing is that if I was in my 20s and with no kid and maybe I was just living brokey jokey type of stuff, all right, I might go on these dinner dates so I can save some money to spend on dinner dates myself, inflation or whatnot for women these days. But when you're grown, hell no. When you're grown and you got your stuff together, there's no reason why you need to be getting some free dinners, going on dates for free dinners, because that's a waste of time. Do not waste your time like that, girl. Have a conversation. If you want to get to know a man, honestly, I like to have a conversation on the phone before I go on that dinner date, because I'm not about to waste this time. And honestly, it takes years to get me on a date. It takes years.
7, right? 7.
I've been single for 7 years, and I know we haven't gone on no date or nothing.
not.
But I was like, the last date I've been on, this man was trying me for 13 years. Okay,
Really?
Seriously, since I first came to Arizona, and he just stayed on top of my ass. Yo, what? And I just be like, nah. The dude before that was maybe 3 years, but average it'd be 3 years of me knowing a dude where he's
3
on
years,
time.
guys.
You gotta be
3
really
years.
pursuing me, hunting me, in order for me to be all right, well, damn, you really put a lot of work into staying on top of getting to know me. Maybe you really do want to get to know me, and I'm gonna take that dinner. But outside of that, I'm not just gonna take no willy-nilly dinners, because my time is more valuable than a dinner meal.
So, what do you do? Because I know, like I talked about, I know some people in this room are going to hold me accountable, for sure. What do you do to other women? Do you hold them accountable to
I
things
ain't got
like
nothing
that?
to do with what they doing. If a woman is talking to me about what she doing in her life, I love that, and I'm just gonna be a good listener and hear what she has to say. And more than likely, a lot of women are. I hold myself accountable, and honestly, I don't need to talk to no woman about my issues for them to hold me accountable. If I'm talking to another woman about my issues, it's just to vent, and I don't need her telling me what to do about it.
So, let's take you out of the situation. Do women hold other women accountable the way
Do you
guys-
feel that they hold
Yes.
your opinion, your womanly opinion?
I believe that women are so preoccupied with what is on their plates, with their families, their children, their relationships, etc., that they're not about to extend an accountability partner to a woman unless that woman is asking them specifically, please hold me accountable to losing weight, to staying faithful, to doing this, to have building a relationship with God, etc. Unless that woman is asking me specifically, I'm not about to do any of that for her. The only person I'm gonna hold accountable is like my child, myself, and my husband when I get married. You know, that's gonna be those are gonna be the people I decide to hold accountable, because it takes so much effort and energy. I understand why guys do it for each other though. I think it's a different situation. You guys got a different brotherhood. And going back, you know, even in traditional times when the woman was at home taking care of the kids or whatever, and the guys are like, I gotta have a beer with the guys, you know, like I have to let loose and just go with the guys. Girls' nights kind of came in later on in life, I think. Girls getting together and kind of, you know, women are more about like, I'm into my family, I'm gonna connect with my husband, I'm gonna connect with my children, I'm gonna connect with my God, I'm gonna connect with myself. We don't really look too much outside of that.
Amen.
And that's my perspective on that. I'm not about to dive into a woman's business unless she says, please, I need help with this, and which honestly women don't really ask for help like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
We don't.
I think that might be what it is too. Is the fact
We're
that
not asking for help.
Guys will ask for advice because we don't have the answers. You know, we realize we don't have the answers.
No, we don't.
And with that, it's like, all right, nah, man. Like AB was saying earlier, if I'm in a club and you see me if you see me in a relationship and you see me talking to somebody else, like, nah, don't do it. You know, just because he knows.
Give you that warning.
You know, is more responsible.
But then it's like, you know, I don't know. You're grown. At the end of the day, it's like, what am I gonna? Saying, and then you're grown.
I think that's the part of it, is that you don't. It's not holding them accountable. Isn't making sure that they do what they do. It is just being that voice, like, hey, look, no, don't do it.
See,
because once he says that, he's done his job.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
his job is done. As my partner is like, don't do it.
So if I was with a female who was in a relationship with a man and we're out having a girls' night and a dude is talking to her, I would be like, and honestly, actually, there are men who are in relationships, who I guess if I looked at them as a female, which they're not female, but, and they're talking to me, talking about their marriage. I always support a man staying in his marriage. I always support a man like, hey, you don't want to be out here. Like, don't leave your marriage. Stay in that relationship. You don't want to be out here in the streets. So I would tell a woman the same thing. If she was coming to me like, girl, I'm so tired of this man and my husband and my kids. I just want to be single and do my thing. And some women might say that to me, you know, and they'll see my life as a single woman and be like, girl, I just want to live in your shoes one day. Like, I'm doing the family stuff over here. I got my husband over here. I'm like, girl, you don't want this. Like, you got your life. Don't leave what you got over there. You got that. You built that. That's your commitment. You stick with that commitment, you know? So I would hold a woman accountable in that sense. I wouldn't be like, yeah, girl, hot girl summer, let's do it. Let's cheat on your man, you know? Like, and I'm gonna bring a boy around for you, but
I think that they just is less of that. It's just more so just letting it go by the wayside, you know.
Yeah,
like
because
if I say that I don't want random thing, if I don't want a long distance relationship, and the next thing I do is, yeah, hey Jeff, man, I met this girl that lives in California. You can be like, didn't you just say you don't want a long distance relationship, bro?
Right, and just kind of pointing out the things that you want and going for what
like,
you want versus you don't want.
That's the accountability. Like, you keeping me on track.
Yeah, that's the accountability.
You know,
Like whether it was a female, you about to do a crazy drug or make a bad business deal, I'm gonna be like, hey man, you don't want to.
Yeah, don't do that.
Sure.
You don't want to do that, man.
Just as a friendship, why? Just in like you know, just
I can't call you my friend if you ain't looking out for my best
see,
interest.
that's just me looking out on what.
Sure.
You know,
I mean, good advice is good advice for women or men, you know, like good advice. Just like if you know that God has been good in your life and you're just like, and you want to share that word, like, hey, you struggling? How about turn to God? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's for anybody. I would pass that word along no matter what.
I got a situation. So similar to this. So someone comes to you and they're like, I'm trying to lose this weight. I'm going to go to the gym. You know, I'm going to do all this stuff. So you will never come, and I'm talking about from a woman's perspective. You'll never turn to them and be like, girl, it's been a month. You ain't been in the gym yet? Like, what are we doing? Like, if that doesn't happen for us, it happens. If I bring up the gym to one of them, they're going to be like, Jeff, okay, it's Tuesday. When
That's
you doing?
sensitive. That's a sensitive subject because
Is that why? So answer that one, and I got another one. I'm just curious.
I don't think that if a woman is not going to the gym, there's a lot of emotional baggage she's holding to, and I'm not a therapist. I can't. I have enough responsibility. I can't carry your mental health issues on me, and whatever is holding you back from your goals. I'm not your coach. If you're paying me to be your coach to help you through that, sure, I'll do it for some money, but I'm not about to do it on no free thing. I can't. I'm not going to be that one because I will take it as it will be too much of a job for me. And am I going to be like, oh girl, you need to get in the gym? Or if, a person decides they want to, no, I'm not.
I think that might be the difference is that, like, if Jeff said that to me, I'm not carrying that after that conversation. It's like, all right, he said he ain't been to the gym, and I said, well, shit, you're supposed to be in the gym.
Right.
After that conversation,
that's
it's it.
If he don't do it right,
and then
that's how I am.
a couple of days later, I might be like, he might hit me up, and you might ask me what I'm doing. I say, hey man, I'm going to the gym. You want to go?
Right.
Then then that's me remembering
Absolutely.
his thing, and he has the choice of saying no, yes or no. That's your call. If you say no, I ain't mad at you. You ain't fucking on my shit. So
I have done that. Hey, I do home workouts. Let me send you a home workout video. That's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I've done that. I've sent 5 minutes. It's super easy. If I see that they're lazy on their workouts, 5-minute workouts, super easy. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. If you don't,
It's not the trampoline thing, is it?
No. No.
All right, so
it's some home workout stuff on YouTube.
other question is this. So if a person does come to you and they keep complaining about that, like, oh my God, I'm trying to, and every week is, dang, I shoulda, woulda, coulda lost this, and is that them? And let's say a woman.
I don't want friends like that.
Okay, what's the point of bringing that up when you're not making the steps that you said that you're going to take? Is there a reason from a woman's perspective?
I'm not sure if I'm quite clear on the question.
Okay. If a woman consistently says this, I want to lose weight.
if they're constantly complaining to you,
Yeah, you can
I don't
find
do friends who complain.
Okay.
I don't do it.
But if you did.
Yeah, but I can't say if I did because I just don't do
She
it.
can't
I'm not about to
speak
put
on that.
myself in those because it's
I
a
got you.
mindset and it's contagious.
Misery loves
It's
company.
contagious.
Misery loves
yes,
company.
and I am not about to be in the company of misery.
Yeah, I'm
because
somewhat the
I am
same
too
way.
joyful about life, and life is too beautiful for me to sit around someone who is just complaining
It's draining.
all the time. Do not
And it's
do it.
contagious because what ends up
It's
happening is
contagious,
that when they dump all their misery onto you, and then now if they keep doing it, now you start feeling the type of way about
Yes.
yourself.
Your
And-
words is coming into
Yeah.
your words. Even if you're
Yeah.
around someone who like curses all the time, or you might end up cursing more after you leave that person. Their company. You're like, dang, I'm really cursing more now because
Yeah.
they just dropped the F bombs and
Yeah.
B bombs all in that one conversation. Or you might start acting differently towards your child. And that's one thing that I have to be careful with. Because I homeschool my child, I'm pouring into her, so my words are going to become her thoughts and her
yeah.
actions, and so I am not going to take a friend who is complaining and not about action and changing. Whatever it is that they want to change in their life, they better make those steps to change it.
Right.
Because I don't want to hear it more than twice.
Yeah.
If you're not changing it, then girl, that's your issues.
Yeah.
And I'm going to move around.
What's the saying? You are what you eat.
You are what you eat.
And you never see the eagles soar with eagles.
Birds of a feather flock together.
There
it Yeah. is.
All those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like women who talk highly of themselves and of their past. The women that I've been around in life, I would say that they enjoy the person that they are and the changes that they want to make. They make steps to change those changes before I have anything to say about it.
Action instead of words.
Actions instead of words. That's what, because I'm all about that. If I'm in a relationship, I'm complaining about my man, girl, what? I'm going to tell myself, why are you complaining about this situation? You need to figure out what it is to make that situation better or move around and away from the situation. And that's just what it is. You just got to take charge of your own life. I'm not about to be a victim of anything. I'm going to be victorious in it all, and I don't believe in victimizing yourself and speaking that, you know, out loud. And so when we talk about accountability, a lot of my friends are accountable for their own actions, and if they are not where they need to be, they know the steps that is going to take them there. You know, so
I'm living the maturity.
yeah, it is. It's growth, you know, and I'm big on self-help stuff, and continuously reading and listening to audiobooks and podcasts, and, you know, reading the word, reading gospel, and reading, you know, and just pouring into myself affirmations. And I think that keeps me accountable to myself. I don't got time to worry about what other people are doing, you know, and unless it's my husband, or unless it's a man that's in my life that I'm like, okay, you're expected to be this type of man to remain in my life, and now I'm gonna hold you accountable. So if my man is getting fat or falling off, yeah, I'm gonna be like, babe, you need to come on, we going to the gym, you know. You won't get that lower pack hard again, so I can rub up on it and grind up on it. You know, we gonna talk about that. And that would be, you know, if I'm intimate with you, that's that's gonna be an accountability thing. But if it's a woman that's a friend, now we're just there to be supportive and loving and nurturing and venting to each other. We're not there to like hold their hands and walk through.
Got you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to realize that just because you moving don't mean you're going anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Just running in place in a little hamster wheel.
You know, you be doing a lot of moving. You could do the reading and all that. But if you ain't putting it to work,
that's right. You have to put the actions in behind the work. That's
then
right.
You just you're gaining that knowledge, but you're still in the exact same space
Analysis
that you was
paralysis.
before. Right.
You know, you're so busy just analyzing what it is that you've read that you're like, oh shoot, I can't move this way, that way. What am I gonna do? You know, you're still stuck.
Or you find yourself in the same position. You know, repeating the same patterns as before. Like, you gotta be able to see that.
And that does have a lot to do with the company you keep and the conversations you're having, you know, and what it is that is what makes your life rich, what it is that is fulfilling you, and what it is that you're running towards, you know. Just figuring out what's the best thing for yourself. Right now, what the best thing for myself is, like I said, is being with my daughter. My best job and my greatest job to this earth is pouring into my daughter and who she's going to be in the future, you know, to add to this world. And also just giving love everywhere that I go, giving love to children, giving love to other people, being kind.
Good stuff.
And, you know, I that's the best thing that we can do just as human beings for each other.
So I wanna put this out here. I've started like giving homeless people clothes when I see them. Do that. Do something. I mean, that's a selfless act. I think, you know, we all can pick up something.
Yeah.
Help somebody somehow.
Yeah, help somebody somehow. Even if it's just, you know, if it's a meal, if it's, I've tried to give homeless food and they've thrown their food. They've thrown that food right back in my face.
They're cooking trash.
Some of these homeless people are a trip, yo. I can't. Because they be some of them be tweaking out here.
But they also have the shelter. They get free food.
Yeah, no, they get free stuff, right? Yes, and there's a lot of honestly, there's a lot of resources for homeless people. There's a big drug epidemic out here, you know, in a lot of places. A lot of fentanyl out here on these streets. And I'm like on the corners, I'm not giving money to them people on the corners no more. I don't want the people on my corners making my name. Like, it makes me feel unsafe when they're around my neighborhood. I can't lie. Like, these tweakers, I don't know what they about to do. They out here tweaking. We've gone to places. I've been part of things where we did hydrate the homeless with the girls, actually. And we used to go out downtown and give waters and give bags, like purses with toiletries and stuff. I'm thinking they're bartering these toiletries for drugs. You know what I'm saying? They're getting extra supplies. So, you know, this lady threw her apple at me. She was tweaking out, and, you know, they want drugs. They don't. They're out there. They have, you know, and a lot of people, it's just about choices too. I understand some people are in those situations and it makes us feel good to give in that way too. My way of giving back really is pouring into children or the elderly.
That's big.
As children and the elderly, for me, anytime an elder person is around me, I want to make sure that I'm listening to their stories that they want to tell of their memories of the past, because that makes them feel young again. You know, I feel like that's a big deal to me. And then children, I love children. I love talking to children, and I think that helping a child to feel seen and heard and getting their name and engaging with them is so important. So anytime a child is around you, make sure you're giving them a high five. You know, you're just like, hey, I see you. What is that? Oh, I like that. What are you learning? You know, and that's also a good way to give back, you know, that's going to help our world too.
Oh, yeah.
I think. I was like going into like the humanities part of things, but you know, that's a big deal to me and to how we feel as people and how we're helping our world and helping ourselves. You know, yeah, just staying positive in life and doing what we gotta do.
Giving out that energy.
You give love, you get love back.
You give love and you get love. That's what it's all about. This is love right here. I think that we're sharing, like, this is great community right here of us having these conversations and being able to respect each other's opinions and knowing that we each have our own experience of the world and we've been able to handle it this way or that way. You know, whether it's like believing that men and women cheat the same, or you know, me having the experience of seeing that, like, I've been super loyal, and a lot of women can say, like, I've been so loyal to this man, I could have given him sex every single day, but still we looking at phone and he over here hitting up Keisha for some head or something. I don't know, I just made up this, but you don't know, like, that happens, right? And women are like, damn, why? Like, how? I gave this man all the love.
Ain't doing it right. That's why.
That's why Keisha Cole said, I should have cheated. She's like, I should have cheated on your ass. You know, like, I knew you was playing me. But I understand that. I understand the perspectives. You know, I get it. We all just speak from our own experiences, and that's cool. We learn every day.
That's what we can do.
But what does it take from a woman to a man to be the only woman? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does a woman have to do to be the only woman
It's simple.
Is it simple? It cannot be simple.
Let's do this. There's three of us.
Yes.
And we can only speak for ourselves. Go ahead, Jeff.
So for me, I don't think it's as hard as it seems. I think I'm upfront with, hey, I need this from you. This is what I need from you, literally. So, you know, we need to be, I don't know, we need to touch, whatever the love languages are. I need these. That's what I need. If we're not providing those, then that's a problem. And we'll come back to the table like,
so
this
if
is what
this
I
woman
need.
every single day is touching you, sexing you, rubbing you, all you need is her always. All it takes is for her to touch you, love you, rub you, and that's all you need always?
No, there's a list.
Okay, well, that's what I'm asking. What is the list?
Oh, what's literally, okay.
What is the literal list?
The list would be communication, and I mean actual communication down to...
She's talking about what she needs. She's talking about what she expects from you.
What she want, what you're looking for, all of this. That needs to be there. Of course, the touching, there should be some kind of touching. There should be that. We should be able to spend time together without it being boring, which it could happen. After time, it's going to get boring.
Absolutely.
But then we need to find another way. We need to bring that to the table. Hey, listen, I'm not being fed over here. Okay, cool. Let's figure out a different way. So we need to be working towards something. If we're just sitting here in the room all the time, and I'm sitting on one side of the couch and you're sitting on one side of the couch, and we're just in the room together, that's never going to work for me. I'm not going to be cool with that. Like, what are we doing here? Like, tell me what we're doing.
But there's still a lot of, you know, vagueness. It's not super clear on what exactly this one woman could be doing. I don't know. Communication is very, like, it's so broad, right? It is, because you can feel like, I mean, you can have a degree in communication. You can be this, like, speech, you know, person, but you just don't know how to communicate your experience, your express.
Okay.
Just to piggyback on, you know, what you're saying about the communication part, I agree with you, because it's like you have to be mature with yourself, and you got to also have a mature partner to take in communications. Not all communications is lovely,
right?
You know, and at least with my perspective of, I guess, what I'm expecting from my woman, she's going to test me.
Yes.
And I got to be able to
pass that test. At
the same time, be able to be openly to accept the criticism and everything else for what she's communicating me about to what she wants me to do, you know. So yes, communication is there, but all communication ain't a Hallmark movie, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you have this high dominance role, or you know, like I'm very dominant, I'm very, you know, territorial, and if she knows that coming in, there's going to be a lot of continuous tests that I have to be able to man up on.
There's a book that talks about that called The Way of the Superior Man.
I got that.
You got it by David Data?
Yeah.
I love that book.
Yeah,
I read that about 3 times. And let me tell you, that's like the manual. And I think that all men and women should read that
book. You haven't read it?
The Way of the
Superior Man. Absolutely. Because it talks about how your woman continues to test you. And you should expect your woman to test you. You should want your woman to test you.
And you know, like my man Jeff doing, checking on his list. You got to know what you want on your list, because
if you don't know,
you got to be careful what you ask for. You know what I'm saying? Don't say you got this, you know, this feminine women, but like you said, you're a talker.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If I want you to communicate, I feel you about to lay it all out on the table, bro. Yeah. And it's gonna be a 15-minute. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't ask for communication, and she lay it out to you, and you ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
you be like, can we just freak already? I'm ready to have sex right now, and I'm just still talking, and they're like, damn, like, can we just have sex already?
Yeah, you
that's
know what
how
I'm saying?
it gets.
So
Usually
I definitely feel like, you know, maturity with yourself, also knowing what your list may be. I feel like that has a lot to do with it, and then also, at least with me, I'm willing to throw it out there on the table. You know, honeymoon phase, that was 20s. You know what I'm saying? I'm close to 40s. But if I was doing that, I'm about to just keep it 100 with you. You know what I'm saying? This is what I present. This is what my list is. This is what I'm giving out. This is what I expect. You know, you give me yours, whatever. Yeah. If we could continue to make this work, cool. If not, hey, I don't want to continue wasting your time. Don't waste mine.
Yeah.
We could keep a friend relationship, social relationship, whatever. But as far as trying to spark that flame, we tried it.
I'm not with still being friends with people I've had sex with. Nah, we're not doing that, because we're going to end up having sex again. Yeah. Can we be friends with people who we've had sexual relationships with? Like, are you going to be friends with your ex? Are you friends with your ex?
I don't know if that's a word. I mean, we're
friends is a
cordial
word. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not
you're not enemies.
You're right.
Right?
On my
you're
side,
not enemies.
she's not my enemy, but I'm sure I'm hers.
Well, but that's the only reason that you guys are not in a situationship right now is because no, I'm just saying you would probably freak her again. No. You wouldn't freak her again?
Never.
Ah, boy. Oh. How? She got it open, you're going to be like, nah.
Yeah, I'm past
it.
That's a hard pass for
you believe that it wasn't that bad?
I'm good. I'm past
it's not that it's.
What if there's alcohol involved?
It doesn't have to be bad, or it may be just the loss of the connection. It could be the loss of the connection.
Yeah, but come on, you don't gotta connect to have good sex, right? Like, I mean, if you already know you've had good sex, you connected before.
What if you didn't have good sex?
What if you didn't have good sex?
What if you did not?
Well, come on. Maybe you didn't end up at the end having good sex, but sometime you had good sex if you stayed in it. You couldn't
Was it
just
all about the sex?
Come on, but you.
No, I'm asking.
Are you really gonna stay with somebody who's not giving you good sex? Like are you even gonna entertain being with somebody lovely long time?
That's like saying
some without good sex.
Will.
Jeff, just look at it like this. Would you be with a girl who says she could cook, but you know her food is just horrible,
wow.
bro?
I haven't answered yet. I'm letting y'all answer for me.
Go ahead. Okay.
Wow.
Please continue.
You said you wasn't gonna freak her, and I don't believe that.
Why not?
Because you said that she said that she looks at you. You look at her cordially.
Yeah, cordially.
That's what I'm saying. She looks at you enemy, so she's like, nah, you ain't getting this cookies right here. You're not. You can't come through.
That's my assumption. Yeah.
Now, right. But if she was like, we could be friends, we could be cordial, and you're like, we could be cordial, and then y'all friendly and whatnot, and then the legs could open, and then you're like, all right, and she's nice and you're nice, because then the connection will start to go. If she was like no enemy, you're not the enemy, then the connection will be growing. So friendship.
The only reason why I believe he won't do that, I believe Jeff won't do that. Just mainly because I'm not speaking for Jeff.
Yes.
I don't think Jeff will put himself in a situation where he'll be alone with her to enter that. That's why I say no.
I get it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel what you're saying.
I don't.
But do I think he's gonna put himself to
I
where
don't
he
know most men to say
nah.
no to vagina. That's all I'm gonna say.
I done said no to
Okay,
plenty.
but what was wrong with the vagina,
That's a
and what was the woman
Yeah,
that
that's
was
a
attached to the
very
vagina, and
misconception.
what? Okay, but that's because there's other. But most men are not saying no to the vagina if the girl is, she's sweet, she's kind, she's soft, she's whatever. Like
I got a lot of friends that I ain't.
So
been with.
why did they say? What are the reasons to say no to freaking?
Yeah, just to I guess
Several
I guess with me, one, I'm not. I guess I wouldn't call it self-control, but I guess I'm so mature with myself sexually. I'm not even you friend. That's it, friend. I don't sleep with my friends. And at the same time, I'm not sticking my thing into anything. That's just me. I'm not. Now my mama taught me better than that.
I'm good on that.
I done had. I don't want to make it sound like I'm some model, but I was like, I done had a woman try to throw it on me, and I done rejected it. Stiff-armed it hard.
But see,
But a lot of men like the chase and don't want a woman throwing it on them because then that kills the chase too, and then that's why they're saying no.
They lack self-control.
Yeah, I could say back if it was earlier after going through when people have hit kind of like a journey, then they go into a position as guys. It's like you said, I ain't putting my dick in everything.
Sure.
And because
you get into that easy.
I believe
Right, that's what I'm saying. No, but if you had to work for it, and it was, or like if she wasn't giving it that easy, and then she's like, oh, okay, you might have gotten to that point, and she gives it up. Then why are you not taking it? Now, I'm not talking about a girl who's throwing it at you. It might just seem like
even a girl that for me, if I have to work for it, that means that it's more than just the lust. You know what I'm saying? That's attached to it. Like I actually there's some emotions. I could see something further at this point. Now, if I just came out of a relationship and I was in the whole phase, and it was like, hey man, I'm fucking anything that walks. But once you hit that journey, it's like nah, because you realize that them ties is real. It's like all right, I'm good with not having to entertain that because I don't want anything. There's nothing that will come from having that. There's no benefit to me other than I'll bust a nut. Okay, yeah, I'll bust a nut. Cool. I could do that shit without needing you to get out of my house. When I'm done, I ain't got to worry about the headache. So I think it just depends on where the guy is mentally.
Everything that takes a little bit longer to get is sweeter when you get it. I think everything that takes a little bit more chase is going to be better when you get it. And I would agree that girls who are just like here you go, and jumping on it without waiting for that extra. Hunter up, not I like that lion, come at me, you're gonna have to come at me hard, you're gonna have to come at me and like a predator, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna have to prey on me before you get it. And I think that's the best way. That's how you lead to great sex, and that's because if you're just like, okay, I see this guy, I'm gonna jump on him. That's weird. I mean, that probably only happens when there's alcohol, like a lot of alcohol.
That's like a sexual act.
But sometimes even the hunt is the thrill of the hunt. It's like, man, you know what? She making me chase. I know she making me chase. I'm doing this just because I know I can get her. I know I can get her to get her walk. You know what I'm saying? That's the thrill of a lot of guys in itself is, and even with that, so you like the hunter that comes at you in that sense. But even sometimes the sex can be so good that now you get the dick or you give it up, and now it's like, damn, that was really good, and now you confused, and he's just like, psh, I just knew I could get it. Yeah. Now I got her, and I can get any time now because I know I done already bagged it. I done done the work mentally. Now mentally you're engaged and you're invested into him versus him being invested in you. That's where the women have a lot of power because you can make the guy chase. But once the guy once I kill my elephant.
But after one time though, I mean, for me, you gotta chase for it every time. But like I might want it, but it's you're gonna have to work for it. It's not like okay, you gotta. Honestly, the first time is usually bullshit for a woman. Like from a man and woman, for a woman's perspective, we're typically not going, and I'm just gonna put this out. Y'all might have had some women fake it on y'all, but we're typically not gonna have an orgasm the first time we have sex with you, and we're typically not going to feel a connection on I'm like, oh, that D is so great. Like we may play it up to be that way depending on what mind frame we are at that point, but we're not gonna get dick dumb off of the one time. Okay. And if y'all just stroked it and you didn't, there's a lot of things that men are not doing that really should be doing, when it comes to sexual experience.
If they're doing it correctly, all of that shit's happening.
That they're becoming dick dumb after one time.
Yeah, because
you think women are becoming dick dumb after one time of having sex?
If the guy's doing it correctly.
I think sex generalities.
Well, doing correctly, I don't know what correctly means in your perspective.
Like you mentioned that there's a lot of things that guys aren't doing. I'm pretty sure that you're probably referring to.
What's correct sex to you guys?
Women ain't doing.
What's correct sex to you guys?
I don't know.
That's one thing I do want to know.
Correct sex is sex that makes a woman come.
Yes, that's the goal.
Sure.
That's the goal. I mean, if you messing with somebody,
are you guys having sex to make women come?
Absolutely
not. What are we doing?
Listen,
I can make myself come.
Sure, but
is that the ultimate goal? No, I ain't gonna say
that. Right? No, I'm not. Because I'm looking up on the board and I'm like, nah, guys are not doing it like that.
If I'm having sex with a woman and she don't come, I have done it.
Guess what? But a lot of women are pretending like they are coming so you can be done trying to make us come. You know what I'm saying? And so we're like, all right, be done because you cannot make us come, and you gotta fake it. Honestly, I don't like faking it, and I will not stroke your ego in that way. And I'll just be like, hey, that felt good, but whatever. I didn't come. But guess what?
Way too old for that shit.
You're too old to be faking it. And if you recognize as a woman that you're not about to come, you better get in the game and help yourself to come and get there. While you're in that experience.
I think there's one thing we're missing here though, because I keep hearing a lot of men. This kind of sounds like maybe not as general as it is. Mm-hmm. Maybe it is certain men that some people have dealt with.
Well, that's all we could speak on, right?
Right. So
a lot of men I've dealt with.
So maybe that's their issue. Maybe they were looking for, hey, I'm trying to get this nut. Once I get this nut, I'm out. Or maybe they're like, you know what? I'm not really trying to satisfy it. Maybe it's what he just said.
I think that and I honestly know that men would love to get a woman. I know that men would love to get us to come. I understand that.
No. I'm saying it depends on the man, because every man's not the same, just like every woman's not the same. Sure. Our goal should be to satisfy the other person, in my opinion.
And you gotta know their sexual appetite, bro.
Right. So what do you like? I mean,
it's hard to get a woman to come. And let me tell you, I've been with a woman before. And it's hard for me. I was like, shit, this is hard to get another woman to come. I honestly say, like, it is hard as hell to lick some vagina. It's hard to, like, stick your finger and rub it the right way. Like, when it's someone else's piece, like, I could do mine, but, like, damn, if I'm touching yours, like, what? It is hard. And you guys have a challenge ahead of you. And that's why women are faking it, because we really want to be sensitive to you guys' egos. And we really don't want to hurt your feelings like that all the time, right? We want to, like, still make you feel like the man. So we're like, hey, you the man.
I want to know your sexual list.
Yeah, man.
Let me know your sexual list.
Give me the role.
Ain't no judgment here.
I do think this. I think you're building. You're then hurting that man, because he now is going out. And he's probably bragging that he's made all these women
sure
come,
is. I heard it.
And none of this stuff is happening.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
You guys laughing at him in the back.
We all laughing.
Right. We're like, oh, you
like,
did?
Girl. No, but you know what? It's not even about me. I've seen it. And I hate that. But I've just, like, where they're like, yo, I made her come. I know that she came. And I'm like, okay, you know that she came, and how do you know that she came? You know what I'm saying?
I kind of feel, man, if you talking that you did it, bro, you know you didn't do it. Me personally,
right? Like, why do you even need to boast about it? Right? If I made a man come, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I made him come, obviously. But when you make a woman come, it's just like, I don't know. It's just,
you do
I
know.
feel like when I come, you know, right? But a woman maybe who has made herself come so often, she's like, oh, I know how this sounds. I know how to replicate this in a way that it's gonna, I'm gonna do the shaking, I'm gonna do all the extra, and he gonna believe. The point is because we want our man, we want the man to feel like a good. We don't want to put him down too hard. You know, we might not.
Man.
And I've cared about a man in the past where I'm like, all right, like I might just fake it for him this time but honestly, I will invite myself to help myself and make it happen. That's what I have to do.
And that's what I think. That's why that goes into my list of what would keep me to stay. Like I need someone. Like if I'm not doing the job right, the same way that if you're not doing the job right, I need to be able to tell you that, hey, you ain't doing the job right, baby.
Yeah, you gotta
do this. You gotta communicate with me.
And it's not always about you guys, right? It's about the cycle. It's about maybe we're in the winter phase and we don't got the blood rush in there like we usually do. You know, it's not all happening. So maybe it's just on us and our bodies. So it doesn't have to do with what you're doing. So you could be doing everything right, but our bodies and our minds are not connecting to create an orgasm that's going to erupt.
You gotta know your woman's sexual appetite, man. Gotta know it.
Exactly. So that doesn't go. The guiding doesn't go in while you're in the act. While you're in the act, it's the lead up to it. It's the conversations before the end. I need someone that's also spontaneous.
You're connecting here before you connect anywhere else.
Exactly. If it's the repetition is always in the bedroom.
But sometimes you can have too much of a mind connection that it kind of disconnects you sexually.
Oh, that's true.
I've had that. Where it's like, damn, we can have like 9-hour conversations.
I don't like that
we
shit.
can,
Fuck that.
we are not talking that much. We
9 hours.
No,
Baby, I got shit to do. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's the balance. You can have a little bit of conversation. You can connect, mentally, and then it's like, all right, where's the physical coming in at?
Yeah.
Because once you start getting too friendly, you start understanding each other so much, and now it's you're crossing the lines of like we're very friendly right now. It's very friendship, and now I'm not really intimate. I'm not feeling very attracted. It's turning me off more than it's turning me on. But if I'm looking at you like, damn, he's kind of a player. Like he might, he might have talked to it. He might have seen a female before he came over here. Honestly, sometimes that might get our heads to think like, I want this D a little bit more.
Do you think that could lead to cheating?
Well, if you're in a relationship and
I say you're in a relationship, 15 years in, and he was 13 years ago.
Well,
now,
he was
2 years
right.
later, he's
now
just playing a video game.
Now he's predictable,
and
he's safe,
he's
and
just
he's
doing
a good
that.
boy.
But you still track.
Yeah,
you still have that. You still have a conversation and all that stuff with him, but there's no bedroom connection at all.
Oof.
Or it was just lost.
Yes.
Could that lead to?
I can imagine.
Absolutely.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I haven't been in that long of a relationship, but I think at that point, that's when we gotta be swingers or something. That's when we gotta be like cuckolds and cuckolds. I don't know.
You gotta communicate that though, man. I think that's the problem.
We gotta go to encounters or something. I don't know what we gotta do, but we gotta add something else. I gotta see you holler at a chick. You gotta see me go to the club and a dude talk to me. We gotta mix it up. If it's
I just feel, I just feel, that does happen, I guess you could say, when you're in like long-term relationships, or just being in a relationship with some person, you know what I'm saying?
And that's where you gotta be like, yo, we are getting real stale.
And one thing I do know, especially with the age group that we're in, what's that erectile dysfunction, bro? That's a real thing.
Oof.
Yo,
please can we talk about
fellas,
this? Can we talk about this?
Hey fellas, I got a lot of homegirls out there, bro, and they be you gotta take care of your health. I'm not trying to go off topic, but you gotta take care of your health. Take care of the way you eat. You gotta exercise, man, because that erectile dysfunction is a real thing. And
let me jump in first.
These women are flipping the roles and they are becoming hunters. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. But back to you, Jeff.
I got
my bad.
Oh, you're good.
That's funny.
Breaking news. You know what I'm saying?
Special report.
Special report. I just got this in.
I just want to say, if you freak me while you are on that pill, you better always freak me while you're on that pill, because
gotta be consistent.
Sheesh, if you don't have that and it's not as rock and it's like, yo, what? Wait, what happened? We're gonna feel
it's false advertising.
It is false.
You're doing a disservice.
Because I'm just coming into this now, and I'm literally just recently I had this. I seen the pills or whatever, right? And I was like, and this dude was talking about his blood pressure or something, right? His high blood pressure that he has to take these pills, right? I'm like,
what color
okay.
was the pill?
It was blue pill, right? It was a blue pill. And he's taking like a half, right? Like a half of the blue pill or whatever, right? And he's like, oh, no, because he told me he had high blood pressure. And I'm like, I don't see you taking these pills regularly. You're sure? Is your heart good? Like, I don't want you to, And he's like, yeah. So I guess he started showing me that he's taking like these blood pressure pills, right? And then I recognized that. Sometimes I'm like, damn, your D is up harder. Like, it's hard. Like, that thing is still up. How is that happening? And the sex is longer. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you on something, right? And I just kind of casually throw it out there. I'm not even knowing, right? Casually throw it out there. And he's like, nah, nah, it's not that. But then I end up looking up some stuff. And then I'm like, oh, like, yes, it is. Also, their heart, I also noticed the heartbeat change for you ladies. If you're trying to figure out if your man's on that pill, their heart beats differently. If you putting your head on a chest and you hearing like what sounds maybe like a little heart murmur or something, them pills get their heart to beat differently. Yes.
Okay, never mind.
And I noticed that before I even found out about the situation. So then when I did, I was like, oh wow, this dude's been popping pills on me, right? And I'm like, no wonder I done stayed on this D for a minute, right? Like, no wonder. It makes sense now. But, and it's great. Hey, I don't like when it goes flaccid. I don't like that little limp dick. I don't know woman likes that, right? We don't want that shit happening. And it's like, really, it's so sad and it's hurtful.
But it happens
it's hurtful.
So I got a question. Does it happen
mid-sex? No, I don't think I've ever had it.
It just won't come up.
I'm trying to pull back on the old memories, but
I'm sorry.
I don't know if it's happened. Oh, actually, no, it might have happened mid-sex. Yeah, maybe like where we're a little bit into it, and maybe then it starts to happen, and it's like, I have it.
That's like the equivalent of a guy of a woman just being like, all right, I'm tired.
Yeah, that's the
and being like,
wait a minute, nah, man,
No, and it's sad. It's a sad situation.
It is.
But I don't try to make a man feel bad. If I like him, if I don't like him, I'm not dealing with you again. That's it went down.
It's okay. You're gonna be like, it's okay.
Listen,
y'all gotta talk about it, man.
But it's like, I might try to get it up. It depends.
You gotta review that game.
If it's the first time, there's no way. Like if it's the first time, you're not getting a second time hands down. Like you should have been on top of your game.
Your first time. Your first time, you gotta be.
But it's funny because now it's like young guys. This young guy was like, I'm bringing the pills. I'm like, he's getting ready for me. He's like, I'm like, damn, he telling me already. He about to have the pill ready. He not jacking off for a week. He's like ready so he can come hard for me.
Mentally prepared.
And I'm like, wow, okay. Now he didn't get it, but he was working up to get. He wanted to get it real bad, and I'm like, it didn't end up that way. But good try, But I think that good try, like you did all the things to prepare for that.
You're supposed to go to the house on nut number 2. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to go on nut number 2.
I think he just wanted to make sure he didn't go. I don't know. He didn't go limp or something. I don't know. But yes, if you're popping them pills, mind you, I don't know what that's doing for your health. In the long term,
I tell you, man,
that's a little scary.
I ain't selling nothing.
It's a little scary.
About nothing, y'all.
So be careful.
Yeah, we.
I don't know. It might not be worth it to just stay hard for forever, or not for forever, but as long as it takes. It might not be worth it. So if you're gonna do it, you're gonna have to consistently do it. So maybe not get started on it. It's like drugs for real.
Just take your ass to the gym, man. Go to the gym, run.
Does the gym help you stay up?
Yeah.
Now I've heard things about when you're fixed. When you're fixed, I've heard men having an issue getting it up because maybe they feel like now they can't bust the seeds that fertilize. You know what I'm saying? And it's a mental thing. And it might be. But I have read articles on it about men who do, because I had suggested to a guy to get fixed. And then he had all these, and I started doing the research. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't want you to get fixed. Maybe, and I also got a little bit sad because even though I don't want more kids, I still feel a sense of like, it's kind of sexy that you still got these swimmers in your nuts. I don't know. Like, it's still kind of a turn on when they got the swimmer swimming. And
Russian
that was
roulette.
for me as a woman.
Oh,
I know
Russian
Russian
roulette.
is not what it is.
Yeah.
Even if I'm on birth control,
1, 2, 3,
whatever,
pull out.
even if we're with a condom or whatever, it's still like, wow, you got swimmers up in there, you know. I don't know. So I felt like a loss. Like I needed to mourn his sperm. Like, wow, you're having another sex with me. Oh, I gotta mourn your sperm and your babies, your potential babies you could have had. Not even with me, with another woman. You could have had all these beautiful babies with another woman. You know.
I feel sad for him now too.
Right? He didn't have it. He had it. He didn't do it. But listen, women need to be more responsible with the way we're having sex anyway, and that's on
Absolutely.
us.
Can you say that again? For people?
We need to be more responsible and stop killing all these babies because we being a little too ratchet out here, being extra with this abortion law. But it's like it's a responsibility to have sex and to be an adult. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like with men. And I've heard this debate about, okay, so you want a man to pay child support? He has no yes or no, or no say of whether or not he has to pay child support, but yet you have a say of whether or not you can kill this baby. Or, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you give no man a yes or no on whether to pay child support, then no. But women, we need to be more conscious of who we're having sex with, how we're having sex, consistently being on birth control if you don't want to have babies.
Good
You know, I
hygiene.
understand the accident happened. What's that?
Good hygiene.
Good hygiene. Oh, on the vagina and stuff?
And this
Listen, well, first of
overall-
all, mostly men are messing up women's hygiene on their vaginas.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying. I'm
men are
speaking
messing
to
up the women.
humans.
pH off?
I'm speaking to humans.
I think, and I haven't had my pH thrown off in 1,000 years, thank God. My pH has been pretty good, like water. They say, they tell me it's like water, so I'm very thankful for my water fountains over here.
High five to that.
I'm saying, but you know what? But when I've been in a relationship with some dirty D, sneaky player or whatever, I've had situations where it's like, yo, what's going on right now? Why is this happening down here? And I think a lot of women experience this, you know, where they have situations and their pH is thrown off and the smell is thrown off real quick and we can't figure it out. But most likely it's because the D that you're freaking on is a little bit promiscuous.
So let's ask this. So if you start off the situation and you get into it this first time and you smell the pH is off, does that mean she's been getting dirty D?
Yeah. That means that she's most likely sexually active with an ex or somebody that is free. Yeah, she has a situationship happening if her pH is off right now. If she tells you she ain't freaked in so long, yeah, all right, but your pH ain't saying that right now. Your pH is telling you something
pH off is
different.
good.
But she might have stopped. She might just not have taken care of the root issue. A lot of women who ends up having infections don't know how to get rid of it completely, and it'll continue to come back when they're not even freaking. So that might be a situation as well. That's rare, but typically I think that it's because she's dealing with a promiscuous D and she has a regular D in her life. So she's gonna give you the runaround. Maybe she might take a little bit longer to freak you because she has consistent D in her life if her pH is off. So yeah, if she don't pass that sniff test, keep it walking. Don't even penetrate it.
You heard it.
On that note, you heard it here first.
I could ask you guys questions all day long. I'm super inquisitive.
Well, let's do this. Ask us one question. This last question before you head out.
Well, you know,
keep
I
your answers short.
didn't get the answer from you as far as like what in a woman would make you want to only be with her forever and ever.
Oh yeah, I was
without
looking
cheating.
forward to answer that question.
Okay, I'm ready.
So for me, transparency. You got to be transparent because I want to be transparent with you. I feel like mentally, like you mentioned, everything starts from the mind. So being transparent on what's going on, what you're doing is key.
Well, she should be transparent about her past.
I mean, everybody has a past.
Right, but
you know?
what if she says, like, I've been with 100 guys? You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna, like, like, okay, awesome, you're transparent with me. Thank you for telling me that.
I can't control what she did before she was with me.
Yeah,
You know, that ain't
You just want her to tell you everything?
if I ask about it, then I want you to tell me about
Okay.
it. You know what I'm saying? Usually because if I ask about it, I'm more than likely know about it.
Right.
You know, or something that I'm interested in and wanting to know. So like when I'm asking questions or when I'm, you know, inquiring about things or getting to know you, that's, you know, being transparent on there. Everybody has a past. I don't know how many people I've been with, but you know, so
The number,
And that's
the
You're
number doesn't
transparent.
matter. You know, so being transparent is one. As far as not cheating is concerned, there has to be an understanding that I'm like growth. I'm an adventurer. So doing different things is going to keep me more interested than if we just always in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying? The repetitive, redundant stuff is like, all right, we gotta open up a new bag of tricks here. You know what I mean? So being spontaneous and being able to get out of that comfort zone or do something different and grow together is paramount for me.
So she has to be open-minded, flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be open-minded, and that's the only way to grow. You know, you have to have a growth mindset. If you're stuck in your ways because that's just what you know, and you're probably going to end up, you know, being dumped. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't gonna do the cheating thing no more. But I'm gonna let you know, like, hey man, this ain't working for me.
Is it hard to find this type of woman?
Is it hard?
In your experience?
I was in a relationship for a long time, so I can't say that it's hard. I think it's just more so when you do find them, you know, you want to make sure that that's the person. You know, you guys had that conversation. You know, I've met people that have been super explorative, and it was like, wow.
It's not hard to find it then.
It shouldn't be hard.
It's just hard to connect.
Yeah, it's connecting. It's just connecting.
Together.
Yeah. It's that mental connection.
Where both people get on the same page.
It's hard to find. It's hard to find.
It's hard to find?
It's hard.
Maybe you're jaded.
No, I'm just.
You said I'm jaded.
I just know, like, he knows, and you know, we know our book. Just like you. You're like, listen, I don't trust that you're not going to cheat. Period. Like, there's no.
So I've developed a sense of acceptance.
I don't think it's, you know, from what he's talking about, I don't think that's hard to find. But for somebody to want that with me or wanting like my qualities and stuff, I think that could be, or at least for me personally, that could be challenging.
I feel like in the aspect of growth, it doesn't have to be just sexually.
I do have a question.
Even in general, like if I want my partner to push me to be better, the same way that I want to push my partner to be better, and that's just in life. You know, if they're pouring into me the way that I'm pouring into them, that's going to translate into the bedroom. So it would make it easier, I believe, to be able to have that spontaneity or that adventurous mindset, because we're already doing that just in everyday life. Like, oh, well, I got this idea for a business. Oh, I'm gonna help you research this, or you know, I'm gonna do this with you because I want to see you succeed in that sense.
Sure, but when you start getting, because I've done that and I've been there, and I'm very entrepreneurial, and I've had I've had businesses, and I've had, you know, ideas, and I've helped men to grow their ideas, but sometimes, you know, it can get to a competitive thing or a jealousy thing. I might be doing more than what they're doing, and they might become resentful of that. My question is what is your, okay, so for me, I think that I would attract more fuck boys right now, right? Because I'm emotionally unavailable for a committed relationship. So I'm gonna attract fuck boys to me because I'm kind of a fuck girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be honest, if I'm not prepared to be a wife right now and I'm a hoe to society, I'm more open. My mind is more open to the idea of sex with someone than it is with marriage with someone, right? So I'm kind of a fuck girl in that sense. And I would feel like most guys are on that, you know, on that spectrum of fuck boys where they're like, yeah, sex sounds pretty good. Marriage doesn't sound so good right now. And what is your biggest challenge for each of you guys as a man right now for finding, what do you think? Like, I'm emotionally unavailable, and I know that I'm not going to find my mate right now. So what is it about each of you that's causing you to not find the person that you really want?
For me, I feel like I'm just on my journey. I'm not against finding that person, but I'm in the sense where I want to grow individually. I want them to grow individually, and we grow individually as a unit.
That's like a contradiction, though, right?
No, because we're experiencing our journeys together. You know, you're still living life. I'm not saying that you're fucking around over here and I'm fucking around over here. Like we're committed to each other, or we're together, and we have this open communication and that honesty of, hey, this is what's going on, but we're doing life together. Whether that means that we eventually end up getting married, signing the paperwork, I do feel kind of like the way that AB does, where my relationship with my woman is between me, her, and God. You know, the paperwork, the legal paperwork is really a formality, but it doesn't mean shit to me, because what means something to me is the actions that me and her take together and the commitment that we have together. And whether we sign that paperwork or not, I'm gonna always make sure that if that's my partner, if that's the person I want to be with, then no matter what. Do you
feel like you're emotionally available for?
I think I am.
Okay,
I believe I am right now. I think that's probably the hard part for me, is the fact that I am available to, you know, I want to be open and transparent with the right person, and finding that right person is, I don't want to say kind of been hard, but it's why I'm on my journey. You know, when she comes, maybe she's already here, I don't know. But when she gets to that same level of where I'm at, then all right, cool. You know, we there.
Okay. AB here, or you have your relationship, right?
Yeah, I got mine.
So
yeah,
AB already found
so
this person.
you feel like that's it.
You know.
And down the line in 10 years, she's not gonna push for marriage. You're not gonna push for marriage. It's just gonna be common law type of situation.
She been down that road, and I'll mention it here and there, throw little jabs at it, and she'll tell me, yeah, if you want to have a good party. That's her. You know what I'm saying? She did that. It was rocky, you know what I'm saying? And this is her perspective of it. I'm not the one to be, well, you need to, you know what I'm saying? That's what that's how you feel about it.
But if it is just a paper, then why not, right?
The paper?
If it is just a paperwork, if it is just a ring, then what is the big weight on it?
To me, there's a lot that comes with that paper.
I'll give you the ring.
Okay, so then it's not just the paperwork, because then paper is not just paper. It's more of a it's more of a legal law.
It's the government's. It's the government's idea.
Right, but like when you get a license to drive, you have certain restrictions. You have to abide by certain laws. Anything that we do in life, usually we have to have like a business, right? When we get an LLC, when you start the podcast, you have a certain level of expectation and things that you have to put under the government that's going to be controlling what you do. We have paperwork for so many things in our lives. How come we're restricting and we're like, no, when it comes to marriage with paperwork, but we'll sign up our businesses, our birth certificates for our children, our licenses to drive. We're not just saying I'm a drive with no license. We're not just saying we're not going to get no insurance.
Yeah, you're right, but
not you. I mean, are you driving with no license right now?
Go ahead,
like to me, those are.
You driving?
Like I feel what you're saying, but those are laws that are grounded to obey in America. It's not a law to marry. There ain't no law to marriage. There ain't no law to that. It's not against the law. If you have a legal business or you driving illegally, that's against the law. It's not against the law to have paperwork to be married. As much as you're not
considered married. Say, okay, so if one of you if you die,
I look at it like this.
Do you have insurance, life insurance? If you die, your girl's not gonna get nothing from you.
Unless she's a beneficiary.
Unless she's a beneficiary. So, but that's the thing. If I'm with somebody investing and they're part of a provider in my family unit, but they're willing to just die and leave me, and this breaks apart, and now we have we built all of this.
I think it's the part where
outside of just money, but
I think that's the part where that's the legal part. That's the legal part.
But you're willing to sign up a business, but you're willing not willing to sign up a marriage
because the business gets
marriage is a business.
The business gets taxed. The business gets taxed. Now, if I pass, if I got married, if I say hey, we're in this together, and I'm the type of person that I'm going to make sure that the T's are dotted, the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. So if I do die, then even if there is no certificate, you the beneficiary on my life insurance policy. The kids is taken care of. The houses that I got are going to be.
So you're willing to put her name as beneficiary on stuff and fill out the paperwork, necessary paperwork that has her social security number, her name and everything on that paperwork, but not the paperwork that it comes to with the marriage paperwork.
But what is that? Because what does that entail? What does
it entail to you?
I don't know.
The paperwork of a marriage, just saying that you guys are legally married. If you had to get separated, then you would have to go through a legal process to get divorced and separated. And most people don't want to deal with that divorce and separation. And I think that most people are not wanting to get married because they're fearing divorce. But if divorce is not an option, then we wouldn't be fearing marriage as much, or we wouldn't be fearing that paperwork.
I just don't like the government being in my shit.
I'm the same way.
But they're in your business and you pay taxes.
Yeah, that's fine, but
you have
but you don't need to be in what I got going on in the bedroom
the government's
and in my
gonna be
relationship.
in your life regardless. I get it. I mean, it is for God. And I looked this up before.
And that's something that's relatively new within the last 100 years. Because before, you didn't have to have a marriage license. The government wasn't involved.
Right. Now, what if you just went to the church and you had, because I've looked this up before and I've been engaged to my daughter's dad because I didn't want the government to be involved. And I was all about that. No paperwork, no government situation. But I wanted to be married under God, right? So I'm like, hey, and there's people and there are articles about it who say, that's a polygamous marriage if you're married to the government under, when you sign up paperwork. It's like you're also including the government in your marriage. And so don't do that. But do get married under God, where you're making the covenant under God in the church, right? So if you went to the church and say you didn't. So if you had, and which my marriage wouldn't be, I'm not into, I wouldn't want a big wedding. I wouldn't want a reception thing. I'm not trying to get married for anybody else but me. I'm getting married for the marriage. I'm not getting married. I don't want to get married for the party. We could have a party for a birthday. The marriage is going to be it's a sacred commitment, and that would be something that's made, yes, under God, making a commitment, showing God, hey, we decided to choose each other and to continue this life together, no matter the hardships, no matter the challenge. And that's an ultimate security. That's an ultimate safety that you feel with this person that you're not gonna get if you don't make that I don't feel that I would get without making that commitment under God, saying I do to this man, I do this man. And honestly, I'm not into rings and stuff. When I had an engagement ring, I felt very, very weird about the whole situation of women being like, let me see your ring. I hated that stuff. I think it's so weird that women compare their or measure their love from their man depending on how big their ring is. I don't like that. I'm not with it. I don't know what I would get as a symbol. And honestly, I've heard men with rings on say they get more women coming at them with a ring on than without the ring on. And I'm sure have you had a ring before? You've been married before?
Yeah, but just not. Please
finish. No. So how many? One time?
I'll go next. Go ahead.
Okay.
But to your point, I have no problem making that covenant under God. Zero. I have no problem giving my girl a ring to symbolize none of that. I have absolutely none of that, because at the end of the day, the only people that's in that marriage is me and her.
Right. Just going to the church, having a preacher and being like, okay, you guys are committed to each other. If you decide to, and this is, or making even a contractual agreement, whether it's just a notary, and it's saying, hey,
all for that. This is,
that's good.
You're taken care of in the event of this. You know what I'm saying? I'm committed to you. I'm in I'm a relationship. We're together. We are under the covenant of God. All that.
Right.
No
and we're not.
all.
And when conflict arises, this is what we're gonna have a plan to get through the conflict together.
Yes.
I got your back. You got my back. And
No
here's
problem
the
with
security
any of that.
going through it. That's great. That's really reassuring for the women in your lives.
Guys scared of marriage or whatever. Because when I had that conversation with her, she told me she ain't doing it. And I think that's very rare.
The divorce probably caused a lot of trauma in her life too.
Oh, it's
I know that's a very traumatic situation. Just me being engaged and splitting up from my daughter's dad was very traumatic situation. When you think I found the one, or I found the person that's gonna be my forever, and that person ends up not being your forever, you're like, you gotta question yourself and your choices and reevaluate what it is that drew you to that person and made you create that mistake in your life, and how not to make that again. We're afraid of those mistakes for sure. sometimes we just gotta jump into it, you know. And but I get it, it's hard, especially now, like us with social media. I know you guys have talked about social media and all that before on the show. And like, if I was in a relationship, a committed relationship, I wouldn't be on social media. I'm not with it. And because there's so many temptations on social media, and honestly, if you're a woman with a man in a committed relationship, unless you're making money on social media, as far as like with your business or whatever, and even though I do make money, I would have to figure out another way, you know, to promote and to market other than that, or because there's too much temptation, there's too much accessibility on social media for men and women, and I don't think it belongs in any real commitment, you know.
Yeah, once you let the public into your shit, you know, people be jaded, you know. Keep your shit to yourself. Go ahead, Jeff. You the last one, man. I'm sorry.
Hey, I know.
I forgot what questions are, but what was the question again?
What's keeping you from finding the woman? What is your challenge in yourself? What's the boundary? Are you emotionally available?
He's fresh though. I don't know.
You're emotionally unavailable.
You are emotional.
You're emotionally available? Get out of here.
What are we talking about? What do you mean, how?
You're rebounding.
No, man, I'm not. But I'm not worried about, like, the rebound is nothing. Like, I've processed it. Took a weekend, processed it, and I'm good. But it had been. I'll just say this. It had been building up for months. Like, it was just saying it and ending it helped end it. And, you know, I apologize. Whoever don't like it, that's what it is. Strike it. But anyway.
You've been married and you would get married again?
So yeah, I've been married, and I understand they're where they are.
Yeah, everybody's different, man.
Yeah, but you know, I'm different. So yes, I'd be married in a church again. I don't care about the reception. It don't really matter.
You would sign the certificate again.
I'd sign it again. I read it. I know what it said. I know how many witnesses had to be on it. I did it. I've even been witnesses for other people's marriages. So I would do it.
Why?
I would do it because the same reasons that you gave are mine. But I also have always wanted that. I wanted that person. Sorry, I'm chewing on this thing. But I wanted somebody that I'm gonna grow with. Like, we're committed. We're in here. We can't go. Like, we got to figure it out. I've always wanted to work. I've always wanted to do the work. I just want someone who actually shows that they want to do the work too. That's the challenge.
Are you hard to please in that way?
Maybe a little. But I'm not hard to please if the actions are there. Because I'm going to show up. I just don't want to show up alone. That's my thing. Or, you know, I don't want it to drop by the wayside and it's not important to someone, or their actions make it seem as such.
Did you come from a two-parent household?
No. So maybe that's my drive too, is I never saw that kind of like A-B. I never saw them together. But I wanted them, you know, I wanted a marriage. I'm like, no.
Chill, did you have a two-parent household?
Yep.
Okay.
Folks still married.
Okay. And you don't aspire to have, do you want to aspire to having what they have, or you're just like, since you see it, it's kind of just...
I would love to have what they have. I just don't think that the paperwork defines that.
Guarantees it.
It doesn't guarantee that.
No.
You know, because I've seen so many people who got married and end up being divorced. And
they didn't do the work.
They didn't do the work. It's
They
the work that makes a marriage work,
Yeah.
not that fucking paperwork.
Right, no.
And I
You
think
can't
that's
just
the
be
part
like,
that society has ingrained in us, like you mentioned earlier, that the paperwork is what makes people want to do the work. I don't want to. I will give you wife privileges when I become a wife.
Right now.
I'm doing husband privileges. I ain't a husband technically, but
Yeah.
I'm committed to you, so I'm acting as if this is the trial period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So are you guys okay with cohabitating before marriage? Well, you're cohabitating before, but you kind of feel like you're married. But do you feel like cohabitation is good before marriage? Or okay
Yes.
before marriage?
I think it's good.
Should you have, like, would you be okay with marrying a woman before you lived with her?
Marrying her before, so we don't live together.
Like, you don't live
until we
together,
get
but you
married.
still, right.
Not me now, no.
I will
I
be.
need to know what's going on.
I think I will be okay with that. I will be okay with having our own crib, you know, and spending time. Because I think in a relationship, you have to have time apart. And I want to be able to miss you,
Yes,
especially with
that's that
technology,
part.
with phones
Yeah.
now.
That part.
It makes it so hard to miss somebody because you have
Yes.
access to them all the time.
Yeah.
So I will be okay if you got your crib and I can't, you know, hey, I'm gonna stay at my crib tonight because I need some space, or, you know, I want to, you know, I got shit to do over here. Fine. you know, I'd be cool with that. I'm also cool with cohabitate. I've done that as well. It just depends on the situation, you know. I'm open to what works for us.
Yeah. I would never let a man live with me again. I would never let a man live with me. And honestly, I think that even in marriage, I might want them to have their own space too. But we can be maybe together 4 out of the 7 days of the week, you know. I do think that it's really healthy for people to have their own spaces. But I wouldn't, without marriage, we need you guys need your own spaces. Your own and I want them to miss me. I don't want it to be where, and I don't want to have to, I gotta shave every single day. Jeez Louise. I gotta, be on top of my game every day. Do you though? Do you? Well, really I understand, because then you get lazy. But that's the thing. I back in the day, Superhead, she wrote Corinne Steffens. She wrote a series of books, not just about giving her accounts of her sexual escapades, but she's actually a decent writer, and she wrote a book about something like how to keep your man. And she was basically like, you gotta stay shaved, you can't be slacking off, and looking frumpy and do it. But she's like, you just gotta stay sexy, and you're sexy because if not, then one, you're not gonna feel secure with that man when, you know what I'm saying, if you're not staying, so all these, and Arizona, oh God, Arizona's full of beautiful women out here. Nobody has any clothes. And nobody has, exactly, I don't understand, and honestly, that's why I think it's so unbelievable for men to stay faithful too, because I'm just like, I see all these beautiful women out here, and I see, even they're not just beautiful, there's so many intellectual, spiritual, beautiful women who are ready and willing to love a man, give him head every day, and do all the. I promise you, there are women who are ready to do all the things. Yeah, but they are there. But wait, they're ready to take my man if I had one.
But let me go. And this is where I always have to shoot this down. And I'm sorry, but I have to do it.
Shoot, go ahead, shoot it.
Healing. They may sound, and it sounds great, and what you're saying, I hear it, and I see them, and oh man, does it look good until you start talking to them and give it a month, give it 2, give it 3. This is me. This is Jeff.
No, I'm saying you gotta.
What's your role in that too, though?
So my role in that is,
what is your, what inspires them to, if they're acting crazy, or if they're acting different, if they're turning that switch and their representatives is going off and they're not staying with the sexy and they're not wanting to continue to give you head or rub you down or shower you up or cook for you or whatever, what is your role on that? Are you continuing to maintain that leadership and that respect, in admiration, where I need you to continue being this man that I admire and I respect, and I, look at as a leader, for me to continue to want to suck your D every day, because then I'm looking at that, that's the whole, I'm, when a girl's sucking your D, she respects you versus she don't respect you, you know what I'm saying, or she's admiring you for some stuff, and it's real easy for a woman to lose respect for a man. I just posted recently about men pumping a woman's gas, right? So if you're in the driver's seat with the man, or if the man is in your passenger seat,
will you pump your gas?
Is he gonna get out the car and pump your gas, right?
Wait. No, let her finish.
Hold on, I'm gonna just finish this little point. So the situationship I was in, the man was in my driver's seat because he had Turo cars, and I took him to go pick up his Turo car, something like that. And he ended up in my, he had many cars. It's not like he was, a scrub. But he ended up in my passenger seat, and he lives in maybe about 45 minutes away from me, which was a healthy thing, honestly, that we had so much distance. And we ended up where my car needed some gas. Mind you, I have a Prius, and so it's real easy and cheap to fill up my tank. But so he's gonna get out to pump my gas, which is a beautiful thing. And I'm getting out my car, and I'm going to give him my card, and I'm giving him my card because I'm expecting, I'm paying for my own gas still. But as I'm giving him my card and he's taking it, I'm like, he probably shouldn't take this card right now. And this is me where later on, I didn't really want to give him the type of passionate, enthusiastic sex, as I would have before, because I was looking at him like, I'm still paying for my own gas right now, where I did you a favor and I went out of my way. And right now, the manly leadership thing of you could have done, you could have been like, nah, I got you. Be like, you took care of me.
You took care of me.
You
so
took care of me. You helped me out.
Yeah.
I got you on this gas, this little $30 gas tank or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, no problem. I wasn't even on E. Like, but he could have, just been like, but I gave him my card. He took it, and then after I had to communicate it because it was sitting on my chest. And I had to be like, because if not, it was going to come off in a different type of way, a resentful way. He didn't know what was the issue bothering me. But I'm like, hey, in this situation, I'm so thankful that you pumped my gas for me. But what would have made it even better? What would have been for you to decline my, card, and you be like, you got it. Because then I would have felt in my feminine energy, and I would have looked at you in your masculine energy and be like, damn, he's the man. I'm gonna suck that dick later real good. And honestly, that's how women, that's how we really start to
pumping gas.
That's how we get it. Like, and we can lose respect so quickly.
It ain't the pumping gas. She went out of her way to do it.
To be like helpful. And I'm like, help me.
Yeah.
Help me help you.
Now that's understandable because that's reciprocal.
Yeah, it's reciprocal. Right. It wasn't just like, I just need you to do this
around,
for me.
Yeah. I did that.
Yeah, so something like that, I feel like would deter me from giving the best me, and my representative might turn into some girl who you don't want because you wasn't playing that leadership man role. You wasn't continuing the admiration that I needed to have for you in order to continue to suck your royalty like you wanted it to be sucked, Then you're like, damn, you're giving me this lazy ass head, and I'm like, I'm giving you lazy head because you giving me lazy pumping the gas, and you ain't paying for stuff, like, I don't know. So what do you think that you was doing anything that no,
not at all.
You come on. Nothing.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's something that we can find that I did.
She just never communicated something like that to you.
Correct.
Where she told you, "Hey, you need to step it up on this."
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and that situation is. We got to break that down. That's a lot of episode.
Oh yeah, nobody's perfect. That's why I had to tell him about it, and he was like, you know what, damn, my fault. You got it, and he respected it, and that he heard me, and that he was able to be like. And then when my tire had a situation, he paid for that. He fixed it. He took it off. He did all the things because he knew I was not about to suck that D the same if he wasn't on that action. So we need men to take more action. We need men to be better leaders so that women can just fall into you and be softer with you, and basically be what you want from us, I think.
Yeah. Hey, we got Miss Tiana Gomez in the building, man.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure. This has been fun.
Shout out.
Yes, thank you. This is a blessing right here. I feel super fortunate to be in this room with you. I appreciate you, Jeff, too, for inviting me here to this. I've been checking you guys out, and I love the conversation that you guys have been having, so I fully support the movement.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Miss Tiana Gomez in the building.
Thank you.